got something to say to me, then say it to my face. What it's all about, why you're bailing out. Think you owe me an apology. Just say it to my face. You're sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. Say it to my face. You're sorry. When I quit my job for you, even quit some friends for you, 'cause you couldn't stand it, me all independent, so you had to have me for yourself. That was when I trusted you, when I could add up 2 and 2, when you promised we'd be together, you, me, forever. Now there's nothing left to lose. And though I understand it's hard sometimes to make up your mind in these trying times, yeah, I just can't accept you leaving me when I'm overseas with the heart so heavy. Think that I deserve the truth for once, not a guilty tone, 'cause you're not alone, yeah. You said you wanna come home, but I know you don't. So this time I won't hear it on the phone. If you got something to say to me, then say it to my face. What it's all about, why you're bailing out. Think you owe me an apology. Just say it to my face. You're sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. Say it to my face. You're sorry.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Today is Friday, January 7th, 2022, and welcome to the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. It is day 67 of my political and economic exile. I will be telling you more about that in the days to come. I want to begin this morning just with a thought that I had in my morning meditations outside on a morning that's finally cold. I will have to say this has been the warmest winter that I have experienced in a long time, but we finally got some cold. And while I was outside meditating, it dawned on me that we all have a responsibility to do our part. And that is holistically speaking, or whether it is doing our part, it's something my grandfather used to teach me. Um, Whenever I got a chance to be in East Cleveland with him, he would tell me a couple of things. Just do your part. And if a job is worth doing, it's worth doing right. I'm thinking about that this morning because, in this fight for freedom and liberation and for justice, there are a lot of moving pieces. And a lot of times we have people who want the credit for things more so than they want to just do their part. I don't know why that's on my mind this morning. Maybe Pastor Anthony Galloway, who always comes in on Fridays and drops some spiritual as well as philosophical knowledge as we venture into the philosophical gut bucket, I think is what you called it, on Fridays. First of all, brother, Happy New Year. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you this morning?
I'm great. It's you talk about finally getting some cold. We've got it. It's a -11 at the moment here.
Well, congratulations. I'm glad somebody got it. It finally got down to, it was literally 80 degrees in the Southeast over Christmas. And then when the New Year came in, it was the balmy 60 something degrees, but now it finally dropped to somewhere around the 30s, which is kind of average for the Southeast. I know Boston cold. I don't know Minneapolis cold. That's a different kind of cold.
Both weather-wise and, of course, racially and interpersonally too. Your earlier space to say gut bucket of existential crisis is what I keep using.
That's what it is.
That's not mine. That's my uncle's. But I'm gonna claim it. But no, I think your. I'm just going to jump out and say it right away in that space. I don't think we are willing to go there enough. And that is part of why you keep hearing me laugh and joke about that in response. But it's one of the places that I want to keep people going to, because it reminds us about what's at stake, especially in order to create space to care for somebody else.
That's right. Pastor Anthony, I always love bringing you on the show because we have this kind of juxtaposition here on the show. We have, it's funny. Two spiritual guys on the screen, but my biggest supporters are atheists. In fact, one of my longest time supporters is a young man who considers himself to be a Satanist, but he recognizes the faith element of my work. In fact, he found my work because of my faith. And it's just weird because as you pursue truth in your studies and you come on the show and you talk about it, I haven't had a complaint from a single atheist since you've been on the show. I haven't. Because, and here's the reason I'm saying that this morning, because I have a clip that I want us to start with one preacher by the name of Shane Vaughn. But I'm saying that this morning because truth is truth. If you are truly in the pursuit of truth, then you will reject lies, propaganda, half-truths, misinformation, and you'll be willing to look in the mirror when you are wrong and say, okay, I was wrong, so let me follow the truth. And I think at any point you tell a lie on the show, like me, I think everybody would send up a red flag. So what is it about truth that is truth, regardless of whether you're pursuing it from a scientific perspective or a faith perspective?
Well, I think, this actually comes up quite a bit. And because we've only been given one dose or one representation of what it means, and in my context, to be Christian, right? And to be Black and Christian. And then those have those layers with it. I think you don't have, when you're presented with a faith walk that is around truth, that embraces cultural identity, and then embraces the actual teachings of how to be in care for another person, there's not a whole lot there to push away. There's not a whole lot there to rally against. And so I think part of the shift there is, you know, and there's always been folks like that in Christian faith space. And so there's not something to push against so much as to explore together. You know, I will say that one of the things that in the essence of pursuing truth. I said this at a rally yesterday on January 6th. It was put on by the League of Women Voters in Duluth. You know, this is a town where 3 Black men were lynched off of the falsehood, off of a mob acting on a falsehood tied with their mentality of racism and supremacy. So on January 6th, some of us were watching and shocked, and some of us were watching a repeat. And so that pursuit of truth and wisdom and all those things create a space where we put a lot less effort into how we're different and how we can push away and counterpoint, and we focus much more on what it looks like and what it sounds like to pursue that which is going to help us. And I think that's always going to be inviting, regardless of what the faith or cultural background is behind.
That's right. Because at the end of the day, we can't be so heavily minded, as my grandmother used to say, that we're no earthly good. Right. We got work to do down here. It's like, regardless of what you believe, there's a lot of time that's wasted arguing over the existence or the non-existence of anything, when in reality, we're fighting against very present threats that are real on this earth: poverty, homelessness, environmental disaster, climate change, war. I mean, let's just, the list of things that we have to address here in front of us right now are long enough for us to not waste all of our time with those edge arguments, especially not even edge arguments. When, you know, you can't convince people who don't want to be convinced one way or the other. And when we have to work together to fight against a particular brand of Christianity and religion in general, this fundamentalism that has mixed itself with violent rhetoric that is a very clear, present, tangible threat to the lives of marginalized people. I want us to take a listen into this first clip of Pastor Shane Vaughn. Now, I played it earlier this week, but Pastor Galloway, I had to play it again when you came back. Listen to now how he's using religion to vilify Blackness and Black Lives Matter. Take a listen in.
LM does not seek peace, it seeks war. It does not seek understanding, it seeks tyranny. BLM is demons. And you tell them I said so. Give them my mailing address, P.O. Box 2757, Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, 39521. You demon spirit called BLM, I curse you in the name of Yeshua the Messiah for what you have done in the United States of America. You Nephilim demon spirit, shut down your demands. America will not succeed or accede to your tyranny. We will not surrender to your demands. Why? Because no demand they ever make will satisfy their demon minds. God bless America, the greatest nation on the face of planet Earth, and we will never, ever surrender to these demon powers called Black Lives Matters. You demons from hell, go back to the roach pit from whence you came, saith the Lord.
He thinks because he puts "saith the Lord" at the end of it that it carries some kind of special power. Pastor Galloway, before I go off the deep end, thoughts?
Well, so you're catching me, because I don't dignify this frame of thinking with much thought. So forgive me on that. Listen, at the front end, he uttered the statement, we are at war, right? We don't, that Black Lives Matter doesn't represent peace. It doesn't represent understanding, and it's something to war against. From a white supremacist mindset rooted in the superiority of whatever group I want to insert blank here, that may be a true statement. Black Lives Matter, absolutely. is not seeking to understand that which seeks the destruction of
That's right.
of movements for freedom and change.
That's right.
So that's the one nugget of truth I can pull out of that. There's also a reference there to Nephilim. This is something that's starting to make its way in some of the popular mindsets like this, that loosely try to claim connection to Christianity, and I mean that emphatically in that
Yes,
space,
sir.
right? Nephilim, fallen angels, or large beings that were there both before and after the floods in the biblical speak there. So just grasping at whatever will make the folklore that's being written here, the underlying piece here that is probably, oh, sorry, I see your face.
No. It's it is folklore being written in real
Mhm.
time, right? They're
Mhm.
creating their own myth and their own narrative that they know in about 50 years people will be studying them. That's
Right.
that. When you said it like that, it really struck a nerve. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, it's just there's this underlying piece, and this is where I'm starting to really put a lot of time and effort, and that is, this is seeking to wrap an identity in place of something else. When somebody's talking about connecting to, just get somebody talking about Irish heritage or their ancestors or their families and things like that, things that are rooted in the actual things that build culture over time and ethnicity over time, right? You just don't have at the end of that the same kind of things that this new political identity project that is being espoused here, really at the core of what this person is saying, this pastor is saying. It allows you to go into some places and wrap around you this mindset that makes everybody else the enemy, that makes you feel like you are losing ground, that you are losing something, and it allows you to be driven to all of these different things that no longer have to have a foot in reality.
That's right. That's
If
right.
you have a strong cultural identity that's rooted in real people, not in ideology, but in real people, you're a lot less disturbed or
Okay.
uncomfortable with truth and reality.
Okay. And because real life people will tighten you up if they're
Right.
good people, right? You can't take some of this foolishness around some of the brothers in the neighborhood because they're gonna tighten
Mhm.
you up. Some of the sisters in the church, they ain't gonna put up with you saying a whole bunch of this kind of stuff. But when you have a political ideology that severs you, and I'm building off of what you're saying here.
Mhm.
When you have a political ideology or any kind of cultural world ideology that severs you from your local community, but inserts you into a virtual community that gives you the same sense of community, the same sense of affirmation, the same sense of satisfaction and success, then all of a sudden you have this entire false reality that feels extremely real to you. But it's not real because you could barely go out of your house and repeat what you say on the internet in real life.
A snake's gonna strike when it's backed into a corner. And so I need to use language like Black Lives Matter as demons and give some kind of thing that markers that, because if we don't have those things, the identity goes away, because the identity is rooted in that fear of other folks. And how vehemently do folks defend themselves for the protection of their identity, their heritage, their quote unquote essence or way of being? Nobody has told these folks that there's a whole lot of other ways to be and to claim identity. This is the fight that allows me to walk into a crowded hospital with folks, having to retake over chapel space because we no longer have a space for folks of different backgrounds to come pray in our hospital, because we need the bed space. We need space to physically put
Wow.
stretchers. This is
Wow.
and yet look at all of that and arrive at none of this is real.
Yeah.
Right. That kind of delusion requires a whole lot of leaps and jumps that this pastor was just doing with their folklore.
Exactly. I'm so glad you ended with that word, because that's exactly where I was going. Right, they're building this folklore, and what has already happened. We can see this has already happened. It led to January 6th. Right, all of the folklore that they've been telling themselves, particularly whiteness in this country, white supremacy in this country, all of the lies that it has had to tell itself to sustain itself, amalgamated into what we saw on January 6th, where all of these men, predominantly white conservative men, marched up the steps of the Capitol on Insurrection Day and believed that they had a legitimate claim against the United States of America, such that they had the right to overthrow the election results. And at the end of the day, Pastor Galloway, all of it was nothing more than folklore and a myth that got a lot of them arrested, but not enough of them.
And that's exactly it. I mean, and keep in mind that this is despite all of the folks that have been sent with this assumption that went and checked the assumption and arrived at the conclusion. Judges and courthouses and lawsuits and all of these different things, folks who carry the same, political mentality. And I have to use that clearly because you got folks like David Brookins who may have more of a conservative lean into their policy, to his policy beliefs and stuff like that, but draws a very distinct line from denying the reality in front of him. So you've gotten the truth of the matter from your own folks that you sent to go and confirm your falsehood, and came back to you and said, no, we ran the numbers and the count's legit, that all these other things legit. And now I'm even denying that.
Right. And so that everyone is with us, you're saying when the judges ran the numbers, the result was the jury came back and said, you're not aggrieved, white people.
Right.
You're not white supremacy. You've got nothing. You have no legitimate claim against the United States of America. And in fact, there's a claim against the United States of America because of white supremacy, right?
And the reason I reference David Brookins is because I like David Brookins' writing, because he's somebody who he's a statistician, because he's gonna. I long for the times when we were having debates about actual policy, right, and coming on to a different side legitimately based on reason and logic on different sides of policy, and got wonky in that way because we at least knew and could trust that we were talking about real data, real reality, real things on the ground, and then just arriving at, David Brookins and I can't remember his counterpart. They used to do this thing where they're both data-driven folks, economists who were on each side of the political spectrum, and they would have some conversations back and forth, but it was rooted in a kind of logic that made sense.
Right.
And even, we're not talking about those folks. That's not what we're talking about.
No. We're not dealing with the William F. Buckleys anymore. We're not dealing with the even Barry Goldwater in his in all of his problems. He was able to draw together a coherent argument all the way to the conclusion, and you make your decision whether you agree with them or not. There's a lot of chapters in his book, Conscience of a Conservative, I disagree with. Most of them I disagree with, but there's at least a logical argument at play that you can follow to its conclusion. We're not dealing with that level of intelligence anymore.
Yeah, because your identity is not wrapped up into a political ideology that you have to fight and defend for, and then will walk yourself into the willingness to to do and act in ways and pick up things. Because if I don't do that, I'm concerned that I might not have anything left. This is a huge thing. When you back somebody into a corner, a whole lot of different things come out, right? This is why you're trained, for those who provide, spiritual care and other things like that, that we ain't in the business of backing folks to corners. We're in the business of trying to figure out how to let folks look at the different ways of being, right? And to give a scaffold for how to be a good person to each other at your core, right? And that is, you back somebody into a corner, these reactions tend to come out, right? I will, in one part. The other piece comes from Dr. D. McIntosh, local pastor, Reverend, taught at Bethel University for a while here in the Twin Cities. Powerful, just Black leader and thinker, right? And Black liberation theology, right? And one of the things that she says is, when you think about shame, it's something called ontological shame. Now, I'm getting a little wonky and heady here, but the idea here is that when you're presented with shame as a response, your brain does two things. You tend to do two things. You either tend to accept and work through the hard walk of making sense of it, or you create a reality in which that never occurred in the first place.
My goodness, we're going somewhere with this. We got another story we have to talk about, but I do have to tell you this. When I was confronted with the fact that I wasn't necessarily as good of a person as I thought I was, man, I had a choice to make. Actually, I didn't have a choice to make. I think I almost had like a mini stroke, because dealing with that type of courageous confrontation with yourself and that shame, man, you either fight or flight, right? It's a fight or flight response. We'll come back to that in a minute. I got a feeling that a lot of other stuff is going to connect to that. I want to move to January 6th and a divide that's happening. And I don't know if it's so much of a divide, but Ted Cruz, who I don't trust as far as I can smell him, decided to call the January 6th insurrectionists terrorists, which I have to say was first said on this show by Rebecca Azor on day one, January 6th last year, she was like, she doesn't like the fact that they're calling it an insurrection when these people are terrorists. Well, Ted Cruz a year later caught up with Rebecca Azor, and other Republicans didn't like it. Matt Gaetz, the dunce from the 1st Congressional District of Florida, had this to say to Ted Cruz about his turncoat.
The establishment will never love you, Ted. You know, you can bend over at bended knee for them, but they're just not going to love you. I think that was maybe an effort by the good senator, who we agree with on many things, to recast himself in the eyes of some of the folks in your profession. But we didn't find it particularly factual or sincere.
Add to the dunce Ku Klux Klan. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican from Georgia, says that she was very upset about January 6th because January 6th interrupted her, Pastor Galloway, from being able to pursue a fair election, right? So she said January 6th stopped her from preventing the election results. Let's take a listen into this moron.
I want you all to know that on January 6th, I was very upset with what happened that day, and it was because it completely interrupted the work that we had worked very hard on all throughout Christmas, preparing for January 6th to object on behalf of Americans that felt their votes had been stolen.
Now, our friend that we just got through talking about, Shane Vaughn, he says that anyone who is turning against Trump over his support for, and actually I want to breeze through these, right? He goes one step further and says that anyone who is turning on Trump over his support for COVID vaccine is really turning against God. If you're losing faith in Donald Trump, you're really losing faith in the God that put him in office. Pastor Shane Vaughn, you're on stage again.
Now, many people have told me that they're losing faith in Donald Trump because of his stand on the vaccine. Let me correct you. You're not losing faith in Donald Trump, because it was not Donald Trump that put Donald Trump in that office. 4 years before Donald Trump was ever known about running for office, Yahweh, the God of heaven, spoke through the mouth of a prophet and said that a man named Donald would be put into the White House, and that man Donald would be the servant of Yahweh to restore America. And guess what else that God said? That this man would serve 2 terms. So if you're losing faith in Donald Trump, you're really losing faith in the God that put him in office. And that's a dangerous thing. Okay.
Pastor Galloway, I got more clips, but I want to pause there because these people worship Donald Trump, and more so than just the man, they worship the ideology of Trumpism and the freedom that it gave them to be full-fledged idiots publicly, as well as full-fledged bigots publicly. It's never been a better time to be a village idiot of white supremacy. You could go all the way to the White House. But these clips show me that these people have an unyielding dedication to their Lord and Savior, Donald Trump.
So you know, the one thing I ain't gonna do and go for is be in a space of using the same language that you using.
Yes, no, well, folks. I'm here as a foil. I'm here as a foil for you.
Yeah, no. It's I'm laughing at this because this is how I wish folks were talking and putting it out there, right? So I'm not gonna call somebody a village idiot in terms of that space, right? Just so folks know, that's not how I roll. So I have this is why I'm enjoying
flavor out there.
Well, I'm enjoying the exchange because you said it right in ways that I just that's not what compels me. The only reason I'm bringing that up, right, is because in this conversation, then we get to talk about that, and that's the exchange that's not happening underneath this, right? So I just want to say that. The second piece is he actually preached a word to me, because he's, if we're going to talk about God putting and moving things forward, that doesn't just come in the form of somebody who rises in as a champion. That also comes in the form of somebody who's going to teach you something about what happens. If you want to get biblical on it in Joshua and Judges, in particular in Judges, you see a bunch of folks who start moving away from where God wants them to be, and others are allowed to show up as examples to get them back right. Right. Look at what happens when you ditch me, when you push me away. There are going to be some things that remind you. And I think that remind you could be somebody who comes and gives you wisdom, or somebody who makes you find wisdom because where you're headed down there. Now, I just found that fascinating, that if we wanted to go ahead.
I don't mean to interrupt, but would you tie that to what we were just talking about when you're severed in a community? You're severed from the reality of a community, because that community is what tightens you up in the way that you're just describing.
Right. Well, truth don't go away, right? And so, you know, when I try to disassociate, there's going to be a moment. I'm running the clock to when that reality comes crumbling down, right? And so, when we work with folks who have been abused as children, right? And that shame response that predators use cause them to completely forget about their abuse, right? I can deny that as long as I want to. There's going to be a moment when I can no longer run from the reality of what happened, and that comes out in self-harm. It comes out in all of these negative ways, but it will come out. It will pop through at some point. And I think that there's that part of what Trump represents is a wake-up call. Part of what the insurrection at the rally the other day, there were so many people talking about how shocking that was to the psyche. And I panned around and looked at the folks of color who said, yeah, this is Thursday, right? Welcome to what happens in the mob, right? So that's what I'm getting at in that, you know, our wake-up calls don't always come in nice, cute packages. Sometimes it comes in a reminder about how serious the situation is, and we have to wake up and deal with it. You know, I also think about, you know, the unwillingness to look. Remember Marjorie Taylor Greene just earlier went on a rant about Kwanzaa as a fake religious holiday, where one Google search will quickly tell you that the origin is specifically non-religious.
That's right.
But I don't do even the effort of a simple Google search because of the fear. And this is what I'm trying to walk to, right? How tenuous it is to, you know, and how much energy it takes to deny reality in front of you. That is a lot of energy. And if I'm spending all of that energy just trying to defend an identity that isn't real, that is a lot of energy. And folks will wrap themselves in pretzels to try to deny what's right in front of us in order to protect that thing, just like the shame response. So I keep hearing this cycle over and over again. You said gut bucket of existential crisis.
No, we in here now. So the dog, you shouldn't have said nothing because I was about to make a connection. But
sorry.
My brain, listen, this is the first on the show, like, because here's where let's go back to the first thing you said, because I know it's all going to connect. The thing that strikes me about this, and the reason that I love having you on the show, is because you're almost like a mirror for me. We both have a lot of the same foundations, different denominations. I decided to go my route, and you are a pastor. Which is one of the routes that is, you know, clearly anybody who's been watching my show know I've been down that road. Okay, I can't hide that from anybody. That said, it's the ability to see, right? All I have started to do, Pastor Galloway, is use a type of language and the rhetoric and the style that these people have been wielding against this country for a very long time. And what I notice, the people who are the most appalled by it, watch this, are the same evangelical Christians who are listening to these type of people every day, the Shane Bonds. Online, when they see me treat them with the reflection of how they treat other people, when I speak with them in the language of village idiot, when I refer to them as the intellectual capacity of a sloth, you know, they are so taken aback by that cruel language, yet and still they support January 6th, yet and still they support the language against Black Lives Matter, that we're demons. Why is it that they can't see the mirror when they're looking in it, but they can clearly see the harsh rhetoric that I'm more than happy to wield against them if it gets their attention?
You know, it's you know, this is a very important distinction in place to put in, because I often have to not see it, right? I have to be able to do both of those things, because that's the reality that I'm trying to put forward. As I'm running from reality, I have to be able to do that. So to me, it's very simple. It's very easy to do those things because I'm already building a kind of chamber of falsehood around me just to be able to deny or push away that which may conflict. Because remember, I'm wrapping an identity around this. When you wrap an identity around something, right? What the acceptance of something else, the acceptance of different truth, the acceptance of logic or data that discounts my worldview isn't just a mind shift. Isn't just, oh, that's how it works instead. Oh, the numbers pan out differently. Okay, well, dang, I have to accept that. It's not that. It's if I accept that and allow that to come in, then the core root that I built an identity around starts to unravel. And that's the lie that I'm trying to fight, because that's absolutely untrue. You have a long history. You can tell me family stories. You can tell me you have a whole upbringing of humanity that is not tied to a political identity that you can grab hold of. And we've got folks that here are being told or being convinced that's not available to them. That is the lie.
So maybe deliverance is showing them that connection that exists beyond even America's original sin. Anyway, before I throw all of the answers out here, let's take a quick break. Can you hang out over the break? When we come back,
yes.
we're gonna get on the clock and cover a couple of stories. Georgia Fort's not with us today, but there's still a lot of serious news that we have to cover from the on the clock perspective. And then coming up at 9:15, we are going to be joined by Professor Ball and Changa as we institute our very first Free 'em All Fridays, discussing our political prisoners in the American penal system. We'll be back with more of the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show after this.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Get your coffee, your tea, your drinks, whatever it is you need to get the morning started. It's your boy, James Williams. DJ Exclusive is in the building. Good morning, everybody.
Come on, come on. Slide to the left, slide to the right. Rock with me, baby, we can do this all night. Slide to the left, slide to the right. Come on, come on, come on. Hey, slide to the left, slide to the right. Rock with me, baby, we can do this all night. Slide to the left, slide to the right. Come on, come on, come on. Hey, slide to the left, slide to the right. Rock with me, baby, we can do this all night. Slide to the left, slide to the right. Come on, come on, come on. Yeah, right hand is wrapped around your waist. I love the way that you be twirling to the
Good morning, y'all. Good morning, y'all. Come on. Yeah, get your stuff Welcome again to the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show, y'all. Good morning to y'all.
Let this be real inside. Slide to the left, slide to the right. Rock with me, baby, we can do this all night. Slide to the left, slide to the right. Come on, come on, come on. Yeah, slide to the left, slide to the right. Rock with me, baby, we can do this all night. Slide to the left, slide to the right. Come on, come on, come on. Hey, slide to the left, slide to the right. Rock with me, baby, we can do this all night. Slide to the left, slide to the right. Come on, come on, come on. Yeah, slide to the left, slide to the right. Rock with me, baby, we can do this all night. Slide to the left, slide to the right. Come on, come on, come on.
I got tons of soul on my true collectible. Famous, also famous, number one desirable. I do what I want when I want and how I want it.
All right, shout out to everybody that's in the chat room. I see so important. Good morning to you. Running right, Sister Jagged Daddy, what's going on? Ryan in this room. Mark Hicks, good morning, brother. Laverne, what's going on? Roller Dragon and shit. Brendan Johnson. How good morning. Who word on my shoulder? Good morning to you. Quick, what's going on? Brother Chuck Beasley, shout out to Brother Chuck Beasley, man. Hey, what's going on, brother? Here, my Super Dragon, Brother Lateef, good morning. Afraid not. Kareem Ransom, Brendan Johnson, Iris Jones, Alicia, good morning. Dragon, good morning to you. Yeah, Esther Russell, G-Man, what's going on, G? Tyler Hackman, Simpson, Tabula Rasa, good morning, Mother Beginner. Simpson, good morning, y'all. Miss Sweet Beasley. Out to everybody, good morning, y'all. On it goes. Good morning, yeah, Hustler. William Moore, what's going on? All the MTV. Good morning. Shout out to Tiger who finally made it home after being kept at his wife's job this Monday afternoon. Yeah, that's a long time, man. Bessie Lynn, good morning to you. Good morning to you. Happy New Year as well to you.
Baby, you set my soul on fire every morning and every evening. Ooh. And maybe we can't get any higher, but if you like to take a ride, we can discover what we're hiding. Making you move, it sure looks good. Playing it cool like you know you should. Put on a smile that's one of a kind, and I can't get you off my mind. Yeah. I'm running too hot, I need to cool me down. I'm flying so high, I don't see the ground.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
It is January 7th, 2022. Welcome back to the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. I want to remind everyone that starting next week, we are moving to a 4-day week so that the entire team can have the same day off. And so that when we're on air, we'll all be on air together. So there will be a live show with the full team on Tuesday to Friday. On Mondays, we will have a broadcast of other original content as well as segments from the previous week so that the different communities across the various platforms can continue to link up with each other so that you just make sure you're aware, everyone, Monday, this coming Monday, is our first Monday off collectively, and we will be live with the full team Tuesday through Friday. We have a lot of news to cover coming up at the 9:15 mark. We are going to be Eastern time. We're going to be speaking with not only the entire Like It or Not crew, we'll be also speaking with Professor Jerry Ball and Changa, discussing the political prisoners, our political prisoners here in the United States of America. But first, let's get on the clock. All right, coming back with me now is Pastor Anthony Galloway. Pastor Galloway, one of the things I've been following pretty extensively here has been obviously the same thing that you've been following and the rest of the world has been following, which is COVID-19. It appears, Pastor Galloway, that there's a new variant that is out, and it does not have a Greek name yet, but it has been tracked from a lab called the IHU lab. And it's something that is concerning. Obviously, it seems like there's it seems like there's something new that comes out every single 3 months. There's a new variant that comes out, and this is not to dismiss the seriousness of it. It's just to say that, you know, when people don't take the necessary precautions, that which didn't kill you comes back and mutates to get a better shot at you. And with the Omicron variant, I want us to play this first clip. The Omicron variant, one of the things that has kind of snuck by our radar is the fact that it's been because rather it has been less severe, and I'm using quotation marks. People have become even more lax, and the numbers and the cases have skyrocketed. But we don't know the long-term impacts that this is going to have on people who have what's called long COVID, especially long COVID in children. Let's take a listen to this clip as they break down the possibility of long COVID in children because we let our guards down over the Omicron variant. Take a listen in. Okay, so that part is okay. So we have it here on the screen. So on the screen, children with long COVID, and this is a you can see it on the screen there. Long COVID for 12 months and over ages 2 to 16. Long COVID for 3+ months, ages 2 to 16, and long COVID any duration, ages 2 to 16. We see it there on the screen. 20,000 children with symptoms for longer than 12 months. There are 20,000 children in this particular study that have suffered from long COVID for 12 months. Now, some of the symptoms of long COVID is the inability to smell, the inability to taste, having persistent headaches, having persistent flu-like symptoms. Even though it's mild, it's not mild symptoms. They're saying it's mild compared to death. Pastor Galloway, jump in there for me.
Well, we'd be having a very different conversation if we didn't have the political ideocultural wars that we're having.
Wow.
Because, as you started off, just talking about the nature of viruses, right? If we were talking about this just as science in a scientific parlance and it wasn't on this public stage space, we could have very similar conversations about many different viruses and the tracking of them and how they affect the body, which prior to now has just been a practice of modern science, being able to understand how viruses work. This is new the way it is because of the way in which our political identity is being wrapped around these things. So I just wanted to set some context that this isn't this is how viruses work. So if we weren't having that conversation, we'd be looking at this and we would be trying to take early precautions just as a matter of fact, matter of this is how science works.
Yeah.
But now we are not, and so the long COVID experience here becomes very, very important in the congregation that I serve and in the communities that I'm in. This has been of important concern from the get-go. And just because we may be later in the data as it comes out for young folks, the scientists were saying that this was a problem, months ago, right? At the beginning of the onset now, and now because the data takes time to collect and to be accurate and right and studied and all of those things, we get the confirmation of what scientists have been saying all along this time. And so it's and the other piece of that is the complications, right? So it may seem mild again in comparison to death, right? But if I have underlying conditions, my daughter was born at 1.5 pounds, really, really premature, right? And thankfully she's not having complications with that. But one of the things we had to be very mindful of is the fact that until the scar tissue that was a result of intubation that young, right, was outpaced by the new healthy tissue.
Oh, wow.
This would have been a huge point of concern because her breath capacity would already be compromised. Add in the long COVID symptoms and some of these other things, and you really have a situation that's problematic. So again, we got to be thinking about, the folks who can't just shake it off, right? And again, that this also erodes that thing about being able to shake it off because there are folks who still can't smell, still can't taste. Their entire, what experience in life has been altered by this virus.
One of the things that frustrates a lot of when people say long COVID, and you pointed this out, and I just want to highlight something you pointed out. When they say it's mild, it so erases people who have pre-existing conditions and immunocompromised, and just nothing is mild for someone who is already in this country just has a complete and total wanton disregard for the people in our community who desperately need us to do the right thing as a matter of public health. And yet we not only aren't doing the right thing, we just completely erase them and say, oh, this version is mild.
Well, and it also allows me to push out of mind those very folks that you just talked about, man. Like if you've seen those maps about where vaccines are rolling out, there's this huge gap in our motherland continent of Africa.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
And our world health, we should be thinking about how because when viruses spread, they morph and they change.
That's right.
And we have to continue to do the scientific fight to stay ahead of it. That's why the IHU, with all of the strain is being studied right now with all of its mutations, is concerning, because we have the ability to address these as they come up. We usually have more time because the spread. We do what we need to do to stop the spread long enough for us to outpace what the virus does to the
Brother,
body.
you were saying a word. Did you mean to do what you just did? Because you just tied the spread of the virus, but the metaphor that I jumped on, it was not a metaphor for your life. It's a very real story about your daughter and the scar tissue outpacing the growth of the normal tissue, and in the normal healthy growth. Here we are trying to outpace the ignorance of everything that's stopping us from holding back the virus long enough to do the research that you're talking about. Ignorance is outpacing knowledge.
You better preach, boy.
I took it from you, brother. I took it from you. You set it up.
But so notice the more we know, the more we start seeing that increase go up. In terms of long COVID, this has been something that my family personally has been very keen to, because we don't know yet, because we're still in the front lines trying to catch up, trying to outpace what's coming on, right? Our data, unfortunately, though, has to lag. And so, because that's how it works, you study it and you get to know all the intricacies of it. And in the space of not knowing, we have committed that to not get this, because we don't know what the long-term ramifications and effects are. And now we're starting to see, and that dovetails to what I heard from doctors. We had on the Counter Stories podcast, we had one of our local doctors who works in the ER, who works with COVID patients, talking about some of the challenges. And they have folks who come in egregiously sick and are like, can we get the vaccine? And they're stuck because they're like, that was a decision that had to be made before now. Now we in it. There's nothing that a vaccine can do for you now.
That's right.
And unfortunately, we, because as a world organism, are dealing with this issue now, that the data is starting to come out in ways that we are now seeing. And it might be too late to do some of the preventative things that we could have done a long time ago.
We could have done a long time ago. On the screen, David, you could put it back on the screen. I want to read it for the listening audience. There is a video, or rather a tweet image. I can't read the name. Cleavon MD on Twitter, showing an image of 7-year-old Cedar Hurl, I believe I can read that, lost her hair due to COVID, and her mother suffered a stroke due to the virus. And she said, quote, "I want COVID to go away forever and never come back." These are survivors of COVID. There are people who have survived COVID who have only survived because they had their legs amputated or had a lung transplant. And that was at the beginning of the pandemic. That's when doctors had enough bandwidth to do innovative things but we have crashed the entire system. At this point, doctors are, like you said, chapels are being filled with beds.
And I'm reeling because we just lost one of our community activists and writers in our local community space, Mel Reeves, to COVID. And he was very public about his fight into it, just so that folks could see this, because one of the things that we are struggling with is proximity, right? So if I don't have direct connection to somebody who suffered this at this moment, then I'm allowed to push it out until it somehow gets into my psyche, my zeitgeist, and I can't run away from it anymore. These are the folks we're starting to see fill up in hospital beds, so much so that folks who need heart transplants, heart procedures, and things like that. My mom went into AFib, and it runs in our family, and I had to rush her in, and I had to watch her get shocked back into rhythm and all of that, right? And we go in, and it was late night, and it was on New Year's, right? And we go in, and I'm looking around at the hospital space, and the folks, as they come to us, you could just see the exhaustion and the fatigue. Yeah. And I stopped and just asked the technician who was coming to prep her for the procedure. I said, how are you? And the waterworks that just began, she saw I had my pastor sweatshirt on, so she made the connection there, and she was happy to have somebody with the faith walk. they hadn't had access to their chaplains because the chaplains are taxed as well. So
Wow.
she had, in order to prioritize patient care, she hadn't been able to get her own one-on-one with her spiritual advisor at the hospital. And so I got it. And I had to go into pastor mode and deal with the waterworks
Wow.
that came to just take the breath. And then she proceeded to do an amazing job caring for my mother. But this is the kind of
Chaos.
thing that we're encountering in this space, right? How, just somebody's checking in and say, how are you doing? And I have to grab this moment because I haven't had this moment to be able to just breathe. This is what our healthcare professionals are
Yeah.
experiencing.
I want to bring in DJ Exclusive, who's in the house. DJ Exclusive. We first of all, good morning, brother. How you doing? You know me, I'll just jump into a conversation and not
right. Like I wasn't even ready. Like, what the crap, man? I'm looking at the phone, sipping car, like, God dang. I'm glad I had the headphones on, so I heard something.
No, I just, you know what, man. I saw you in the background. I'm like, you know what, let me because we're talking about some. I mean, listen, it's heavy in the morning. It's Friday. I'm going to turn it over to you a little bit early and we're going to get the party going soon. But truth of the matter is, man, is this, a matter of fact, before we go any further, David, play the clip that we have that gives us the summary of I believe we have a clip of the IHU variant. Now I messed up twice this morning. Do we have that one, David? Okay, I think David may be. Okay, there we go.
During the surge in COVID-19 cases due to Omicron, now fresh reports say that French researchers have detected a new COVID-19 variant and have temporarily named it as IHU. The new variant is probably of Cameroonian origin. The variant detected in the Central African country has 46 mutations and 37 deletions as compared to the original COVID-19 variant that infected the globe. The new variant from the lineage named B16402 is believed to have infected 12 people in the country. The new variant was reported in a yet-to-be peer-reviewed study supported by the French government. Philippe Colson from IHU Méditerranée Infection, Marseille, France, was quoted by reports as saying, "For 12 SARS-CoV positive patients living in the same geographical area of southeastern France, qPCR testing that screened for variant-associated mutations showed an atypical combination. However, it is too early to speculate on virological, epidemiological, or clinical features of this IHU variant based on these 12 cases," he said. The first case was detected in a man who had returned to France from a trip to Cameroon.
Listen, y'all need to stop traveling first and foremost. Sit down and stay home for a minute, could you please? And the second thing, before I turn to you, James, because this is everything is getting shut down. Like I mean, around the city, man, like with stuff's not getting delivered, trash isn't getting picked up. They've got COVID-19 and it's so prevalent. There's COVID-19 in the wastewater, right, at levels that they haven't seen through the entire pandemic. Meanwhile, as I was watching that, Pastor Galloway at the bottom, it's the same phenomenon. Can the pace of deletions keep up with the pace of mutations? But we staying out in the streets, going to the parties, going to the club. I don't know which one of y'all want to start first, but we got both of those things going on at the same time.
Well, just honor. Let's honor the fact that we have the detection, right? The reason that we could detect this is because African health centers and places have been vigilant enough and have been part of the process enough so that we could detect these things early, right? And so, I mean, this is a shout out to the fact that there are some folks who are doing their daggone job and waiting for the rest of us to jump on board. But also keep in mind too that I think one of the experts that you had on previously, talked about viruses mutate when they spread. And so, the more spread there is, the more mutation it is. And that's where I even got the pacing language in there. So I just want to give a shout out to the motherland for having the wherewithal to have things in place to give us this information so we can actually do something about it in the first place.
And James, that wastewater issue, that was an Atlanta issue. There's trash that's not being picked up across, like people getting sick, man. And I don't know if the government's noticed. They notice. I don't think they care that the whole thing is crumbling.
Yeah, everything is just going to sugar honey iced tea right now. Basically, it's crazy out here, bro. It's really crazy. It's ridiculous. I mean, then a flu Rona running around too on top of this new variant.
Man, if people just stay home, just for a little bit. There's just too many analogs to this. Listen, Pastor Galloway, if you let me keep you, I'm gonna end up keeping you and going to the next part of this conversation, which is what happens with Pharaoh when Pharaoh hardens its heart. And I say its heart in particular, because if this economic system hadn't hardened its heart, then probably, I don't know, about 750,000 people probably could be still alive today.
Preventable. This is the repeat of all of the health professionals that we talk to, that we keep folks informed with, are saying, this is so much of this is preventable. And that is one of the heartbreaking things about it. We just do, those who have to do hospital rotations, hospice rotations, who have to stay connected to doctors, you get it right away. I think I told you before, I had a cousin who's a traveling COVID nurse, and they have and they tell the story of having to try to convince family to get on to protect themselves, of wheeling of a husband into a room to say goodbye, and had to do special things to do it, just because they knew the wife was going to pass, and then shortly after the husband did too. That is the reality that folks are living, and so just because you can close yourself off from that reality doesn't mean that reality isn't still happening.
Man, there are so many parallels here. James, before we go to break, you said something about a flu Rona. I thought you were just saying that. That's actually a thing.
Ben, you haven't heard?
Man, I'm trapped in. I'm in political exile right now. David, run the clip of this flu Rona. What is a flu Rona?
So we've gone through 2 flu seasons with the threat of COVID-19 still looming. But new this morning, the first official case of flu Rona has been confirmed. So what is flu Rona? It's being infected with COVID-19 and the flu at the same time. And it's raising concerns over what the two together can do. Health experts say flu Rona could be catastrophic to the immune system, but they also say they don't see this becoming a common occurrence. And if you have your COVID-19 and flu vaccines, you likely are going to have mild symptoms.
Listen, I have the worst sense of humor. I laugh at times where you should not laugh. This is not a laughing matter, but my God, I thought you were joking when you said flu Rona.
Yeah. I wish I was joking.
Right. And just to be clear, right? That's having 2 of these viral attacks in your body at the same time, right? Which is
we like the nickname. We like to pair things together and make everybody think it's the same, but it's 2. But that's actually worse. Like I don't know if it's worse. I'm sure if there was actually one virus that was a flu Rona virus, it probably would be. But we've gotten so far in this thing.
Doctor. There's frozen there. You lost me,
Pastor Galloway. I'm like, did he have a pregnant pause? That's a significant pregnant pause.
Right, that was preaching 101. Get you to lean in on it a little
bit. You was just waiting for that word. So I'm like,
I was Captain Kirkin, y'all, man. I was like, the pulse of it all.
You have me at the edge of the seat. You have me at the
We need to go to break. Pastor Galloway, thank you for hanging as long as you did. I'm going to cut there. We'll pick this up another day. Tell everybody how they can get up with you and support you, man.
You can go to stmarkame.org. And again, you can always support the work of Georgia Fort, who is continuing to do amazing work. She was covering a protest at the governor's mansion out in the cold and the negative weather. So go support Georgia. That's how you can get at it.
Is that happening? See, listen, I got to get my life together. I got too much going on. Is that what Georgia's doing right now today?
She's covering and bringing in recovering the protests and the movement and organizing around Ilal Id, who is lesser known for their death at the hands of law enforcement here in Minnesota.
That Sister Georgia Fort does not stop. And to be fair to everyone, we have the On the Clock branding on here, but we certainly don't have the On the Clock Georgia Fort with us today. But that said, we're blessed to have Pastor Anthony Galloway, who is, I think you'd accept me calling you a good second to Georgia, right? That's a fair.
Heck yeah, I'm a hype man, whatever you want to call me. I'll be out there with the shirt hyping it out. Security detail if it needed. My kids go and go to her husband's boxing gym to train.
Yep.
Like.
And
I'm ride or die in the paint.
I do want
Support
the
black
audience
women.
to know. I do want the audience to know, James, before we go to break, that Pastor Galloway. Now, if he ever catch me slipping as it pertains to how I have my business and professional dealings with Georgia Fort, the pastor will go away and he'll pull up and handle some business. I respect that, brother. Thank you for having her back.
Unapologetically.
Thank you for having her back.
Right.
The way she has my back, man. Hey, DJ Exclusive, take us a break. When we come back, Rebecca Azor will be joining us for Like It or Not. The Benjamin Dixon Morning Show will be back right after this.
Good morning, everybody. Hope y'all are having a great morning. Hope y'all got y'all tea, y'all coffee, whatever it is you need to get your morning started. Coming a little behind schedule, so you should already have these things. Well, good morning, everybody, again. Good morning, everybody. Roller Dragon, Mark S. What's going on, brother? Roller Dragon, Sarah AP, promises manifested. Juanita, good morning. Church lady, happy New Year to you. How you doing? Sempre Sunny Right, Courtney the SLP, what's going on? Sandy, what up, Tiger? Esther Groton, Pup Diesel, what's going on, brother? Shoot the Dragon, I know I saw Brother Latif in the building too. Good morning, Brother Latif. Susan, good morning. Hey, Miss Sophia. Good morning, Mama, love you. And a heart, good morning. Yeah, Hustler, Mama Bina, Alicia, good morning, Alicia, I love you. Happy New Year to you. Peace is the verb, good morning. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. I love y'all, mean it. Mary C, good morning to you.
I wanna forget where I came from, where there's no getting new.
I know my little brother Tyler Hackett is in the building. Tyler, good morning, brother. Forgot what they call the robo meme. All right, y'all, real quick, we're going to get our patrons read off and our new subscribers. Alicia, how you get both in the same podcast? That's funny as hell. Bubblebot. How is it? RJ, DJ? I don't know. I can't remember. Anywho, y'all, get these new subscribers read off pretty real fast. Brittany Woods, good morning. Nick, what's going on, Nick? All right, y'all, real quick. We have S. Gainer, Jennifer F., and Al H., who doubled their pledge. And Riley B., good morning, y'all, and welcome. Our new Twitch subscribers, we have Jam Tune, who resubscribed. Been subscribed for 9 months. Love you, Jam Tune. Chicken Fire Dragon resubscribed and commented Happy New Year, Lion Squad. Octo Squiddies gifted a subscription to Illuminati 017. Fat guy named Tiny. Fat guy named Tiny said, woo. Second trimester confirmed. This Twitch baby is cooking away. All right, Twitch baby. Chicken Fried Dragon gifted a 3-month subscription to Doggy Dog 20 and Progressive J Log. Chicken Fried Dragon also gifted subscriptions to Tim Bob RN and Felicity 91. Chicken Fried Dragon is a real one. Chicken Fried Dragon, love you. Mean that. Appreciate you. Old School Hype resubscribed for 2 months and they've been subscribed for 3. Okay. Old School Hype, welcome. Zivis X resubscribed and commented 5 months of learning. Thank you for all you do. Ben and the team, Dr. Mac, thank you for your knowledge that you share. Love y'all, mean it. And they've been subscribed for 5 months. And Brown Coat Blue resubscribed with Prime with them Bezos dollars. We thank y'all, mean it, man. Hey, if you have not already, you can as well too. Patreon.com/like-it-or-not. Patreon.com/the BPD show, man. Y'all go ahead, join and get y'all good old stuff in and get access to patron parties and all that other stuff, man. And then y'all get to see me all the time, okay? Anyway, y'all stay tuned, like it or not. It's starting up next on the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. Lily, good morning. Doreen Ransom, good morning to you. Oh, Infinite Confidence in the building. Somebody said they want to hear a joke, so let me see what I got.
But I'm breaking my habit 'cause you turn me on to my heart's desire. Now I'm dying to let you know what I feel is some kind of wonderful, some kind of magical woman. My love's for real. I need to show you right now. Take a look at me now. I can't explain for the life of me what you did to me when I made you last summer. You set me free, you believed in me. Now you're here with me and you're walking on
Okay. And real quick, y'all, real quick, our brother Chuck Diesel, our moderator, man, we all know him, our Troll Slayer 101, man. That's my dog and my hype man. He needs some of our help. So if we can, what we want to do, if you can, if you got it, please help the man out. $sign Chuck Diesel 9, $sign Chuck Diesel 9. Let's show our brother some love. He really needs it right now. I'm going to send something myself, Chuck, and anybody else that can, man. Please, let's help our brother out in need. All right? Brother Chuck Diesel, we got you, brother.
love. It's like I've been waiting around for you. Why did you take so long to come to me? Maybe you were waiting around for me too. So
And then, David, if you could, pin that in the chat room for me, David, please. Hey, Brother Chuck, as much as you do for us, man, and a lot of other people, you be doing your thing, bro. So anything that we can do to help, we're going to help you out. Y'all said y'all wanted a joke, so here it go. I can't believe, this is why I went in yesterday, y'all. I can't believe I was arrested for impersonating a politician. Yes, I got arrested for impersonating a politician. I mean, I was just sitting there doing nothing. That was actually a good one. I like that one. Brother A.R. Walker, good morning to you.
Oh, we're walking on cloud nine.
Marquez, exactly. That's why I like that one. And that was the first one that popped up when I went on my little site, too.
When I get you back, oh yeah. When I get you back, oh yeah. When I get you back, oh yeah. I promise you'll never leave me. When it comes to you and me, there's no one else I'd rather be with. Baby, I won't let you down. I
Like It or Not is on your channel, yeah. Politics and culture ish, we change skin like we supposed to, yeah. Interviews and all the news, we get to choose what gets the views. Like It or Not with Queen Azura, it started now, so stick around. Like it or not, it's going down. Like it, y'all know what time it is. Y'all stick around. Oh, Rebecca's on. It's coming through. You know she got a good story for you. Oh, Benjamin, that's my dog. This is his show. He's a politics bro. I am your DJ. DJ exclusive. Y'all know who I am. I stay dropping them jams. Like it or not, it's going down. Like it or not, y'all stick around. Oh, like it or not, it's starting now. Like it or not. Damn, Laverne, that would be right. Down.
Like It or Not with Benjamin Dixon starts now.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay.
Good morning and welcome to Like It or Not, where we're free to tell the truth.
Not care who doesn't like it. You over here looking like the damn Unabomber. What is going on? First you're trapped in the closet, now you're the Unabomber. What is going on, Benjamin?
You know, man, I am day 67 of political and economic exile, but that's a story for another day.
Day 5006 with no sex. Let me stop. I feel
Captain's
my eyelash is growing.
Captain's Law, supplemental.
See,
when Rebecca's not here.
That's funny.
Hey, man, it's like Wayne's World when Rebecca's not here. We don't even care. Like news.
Two high ass motherfuckers over here on the screen at the same time.
News.
Nothing at all.
Oh my god.
Politics news. What the hell?
Responsibility.
Okay. Show. What? Man.
No uno today, folks. Today.
Wait, real quick before you go there, Ben. That's what I was telling yesterday in the chat. Rebecca was talking about she gonna put a draw 2 on the draw 4. Don't come around here with that mess.
No,
you can't do that. I was like, that's cheating.
All right. It's draw 2s on draw 2s.
Draw 4s
on draw 4s.
Right.
That's okay. Somebody got it. John Ferris got it. I'm doing my Eric Adams today.
That's what you do.
Mayor of New York. I was going to put on a shirt and tie underneath it, but I'm not a lame. Forgive me for the ableist language. I'm so used to calling cornballs lame asses that I'm going to have to get accustomed to dropping the ableist language and not call them lame asses and call them cornball asses. Forgive me. And I'm really serious about the ableist language. It's one of those things that I'm not good at because I'm just so used to calling cornball dudes like Eric Adams in New York what they are. Losers. We'll just go there today.
Losers.
Do we have those clips of him in his hoodie trying to show he had swagger in his shirt and tie over a hoodie and his mask looking like I don't know what he thought he was looking like, Black Lex Luthor? I don't know. Run the clip. If we have it, I'll give you time. And we're going to be speaking momentarily.
I was waiting on it too. I was praying for it.
Oh man.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Benjamin. I'm sorry.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the proper history on that story. But I know the sentiment and I feel it. It's what Brother Mac would say. He belongs in the La Kunta Hotel. Emphasis on the Kunta Hotel. But he's a very dangerous man. He's a black man who fancies himself. Look at this cornball. He fancies himself to be a man of swagger, someone who's got it, someone who is the type of Negro who could put other Negroes in place because he speaks with a Brooklyn accent. Well, the South got something to say, partner. That's a little over the top. Let me dial it down a little bit. I'm gonna come in at this angle. The truth of the matter is this is a black man who wants to bring back stop and frisk to New York. This is a black man who wants you to be impressed because he put on a hoodie and he's telling you to go get vaccinated. Well, good. Everybody go get vaccinated. Meanwhile, he's also saying that essential workers ain't educated enough to run the offices. Now, if anybody has had real time in the black community, you know, the most efficient people we got are the essential workers. They running all of your empire. Anyway, play the clip of him real quick before we bring our guest on, and we're going to have Freedom All Fridays momentarily. Play that clip where he's telling people to go back to work, you plebes, you serfs, you essential workers, no. He's saying you middle managers who actually have the choice. You middle managers who have a choice to work from home, go back to work because the ignorant masses underneath you can't run the offices. Run the clip.
And I'm still getting my salary. Then you are not helping those New Yorkers that need us to come in. So I want my businesses in this city to come up with a closer deadline and say we're going to start placing our toe back in the water, come in for 2 days, for 3 days, and then let's get this city back up and operating.
Let's just say we're just going to revisit this in April. That's too long for you.
You know, January, February, March, April, 4 months of not having this business patronized, not having a restaurant patronized, not having business travelers come here to the city to go to our hotels. That is going to be devastating for our economy. And I don't know if my businesses are sharing with their employees. You are part of the ecosystem of this city. My low-skilled workers, my cooks, my dishwashers, my messengers, my shoe shine people, those who work in Dunkin' Donuts, they don't have the academic skills to sit in a corner office.
Wait now, hold on, bro. Hold on.
We are in this together. And we should be saying to ourselves, if I remotely do my job, then that stock clerk is not going to be able to have the business he deserves. That's what I need us to understand. This is not a separate thing. To get through this, we have to get through this together. I need them to shorten the span.
Cornball ass.
So low skilled workers got to be cooks, shoe shiners, Dunkin' Donuts, and all this stuff. Yeah. You calling them low skilled workers?
Yeah, especially
because
Dunkin' Donuts.
And we don't have the academic, or they don't have the academic knowledge. What kind of I'm about to say some words.
Stepping fetchery.
What kind of like BS is that, bruh?
Oh, that's the height of capitalism, baby. That's the height of black capitalism. That's the height of black neoliberal capitalism. I mean, he's the crown jewel of the misleadership class.
Because, dude, I know people right now with full-ass college degrees that might be working at cooking or working at a Dunkin' Donuts. Not because they have to, because they choose to or they want to, or because the goddamn people with these degrees don't mean shit no more. The degree don't mean nothing.
Come on. Some of the best scientists I know.
The academic goddamn, you lost your goddamn mind.
Good morning,
boy.
Rebecca Azor. We done got we started early and now we actually doing homework. We mad at this mayor up in your city of New York.
Definitely not my city. Let's be clear.
I knew she was gonna say it.
Secondly, yeah, that was how Bubba would say. We talked about that yesterday. Like you missed that.
I know. But, I was watching that though. I saw part of it, but I didn't realize that's what he said.
Like
I was like in and out of sleep.
Yeah, you gotta hear it twice. Rebecca.
It's honestly for me just the fact that they were once essential workers, now they're turned low skill workers when they're still doing the same thing, trying to protect themselves. They're the same people who were called essential workers, but now they're not being essential. They're not essential enough anymore because they don't want to go to work and get sick. So now they're low skilled workers, and it's crazy because he's saying that you guys are the ones who make New York what it is. We need the tourism to come back. We need all of that. How are we working out tourism right now when we can't even get this pandemic in order? How are we doing that when we can't even get these, get your city, which is, high in numbers, together, when we don't even have enough, what is it called? We don't even have enough ventilators still to go around. Beds aren't available, but you want tourists to come in?
Come in. Look at them.
Make it make sense.
Make the tie underneath the hoodie make sense.
Who voted for this man? What? When did this happen? How did this happen? I mean,
Eric Yang, what's Eric's last name? The math guy. Listen, before we go into that, let me bring in our guests, Kalonji Changa and Professor Jared Ball. They are joining us for Freedom All Fridays, where we are going to speak on America's political prisoners. Gentlemen, good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Hey, what's happening? Hey, listen.
Yes, sir.
Y'all hitting hard, man. The first thing, as soon as I turn it on, y'all got Eric Adams on there, and that dude right there. Good God Almighty, as my grandmother would say. I'm like, man.
Good morning,
man.
Listen, gentlemen. Before we rip that man, whatever, we're gonna hit him so hard that he's gonna have an existential crisis if he ever sees this clip. But before we do that, can I just say greetings and salutations to you? Happy New Year to both of you. It's good to see you on this side of 2021.
Right.
Likewise. Good to see everybody. Appreciate you all having us. And what's up with that? Where you get that hoodie at, man?
Honestly, I got it at Walmart.
Wow!
Yeah, man.
It's HBC hoodie.
Yeah, man. I'm in political and economic exile, so I'm like, listen, just why not tell people like Eric Adams that he's not going to get away with this, right?
That
like
cat right there, man.
He really ain't going to be able to get away with playing this kind of super Negro role and think we're just going to be like, oh, we're going to support the black man because he got a D by his name. We're going to talk about the political prisoners in a minute. I know Rebecca had to step away, but she obviously is giving you guys greetings this morning. Let's start with you, Professor Ball, and then I'm going to hand it to you, Brother Changa. What say ye to the mayor of New York?
I don't have anything to say to the mayor of New York. I would only want to address myself to the people of New York and to the people of the broader, society, community, etc., that we need to step up our political analysis and engage the system very differently. Otherwise, this is what we get. So I got this from Ward Churchill, who Kalonji had on our platform not too long ago, who said something years ago that I really appreciate. This whole notion of speaking truth to power is a little bit misunderstood and misguided. We don't need to speak truth to power. They're not listening. We need to speak truth to each other and become the power. So that's what I would want to say. This guy, I don't have anything to say to him other than what I co-sign whatever my colleagues and compatriots here this morning have to say. But specifically, I'm talking to the rest of us. We need to get more radical.
Talk to us, not him. Brother Changa, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Eric Adams is necessary for New York. And I say that because of the fact that we need to truly understand where we are in this age of empire. I think we get carried away and we think that black faces in high places equate to us being successful as a people. So I think he's absolutely necessary. And I think that the folks should pay attention to him and really, go hard on his ass. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes. And you know what? You should measure. See, what I'm doing right now is I am trying to measure how hard I go in the paint with what I'm going through. Now, if the people of New York did the same thing and used that kind of energy, you matched your kind of activism and work and push to change this system with what kind of hell you going through. And I think Mr. Adams would definitely have some reconsiderations on the policies he's trying to employ there in the city of New York. Good morning back again to the Queen Rebecca. I can step to the side now.
What? No, you could stop. You could stay right there. Hey, Professor Ball, how you doing? Hey, Kalonji, how you doing?
Hey, we good now. We needed that balance because those two brothers on the left and the right of you, man, they colder than white, man. I saw them get down a while ago.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What I really wanted to see, because every time I've been on here, I've watched, and I've watched you guys do your thing, and I wanted to see it live. I wanted to be right in the middle of it because I love the exchange between you, Professor Ball, and Benjamin Dixon. I love how you guys can definitely intellectually have a conversation, and you as well, Kalonji. I haven't been on the show with you, but I have watched you on the Benjamin Dixon Show, and on his little segment before hours, and and I love to see how you guys can break down something in three different ways, right? And then throw it back out there, and it's still giving the same message. So I just wanted to say that I can't wait as we work through.
No, thank you. And of course, this is how we do at the good Morgan State University.
It's not Florida A&M, but I can say, shouts out.
I don't even feel like it.
Shouts out to Morgan. It's not Florida A&M. It is a Friday. We just gonna.
But I will say, I will say that you all are standing in the blessing of the last will and testament of none other than Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. I would tell you that. I would tell you, James. I get the amount wrong every time, James. How much did she use to start Bethune-Cookman?
$1.50.
$1.50.
Well, we can see when we get over there, but it's okay. HBCU love all across the board. God bless HBCUs.
It's okay. We can't have all the white people give us the money, Rebecca.
I was just happy to see you because of the fact that you had me on here with these crazy bald heads, and I was just feeling like I was.
But no, seriously.
I was feeling like I was. You know what I mean?
Three different shades of B&Bs.
Let's talk about it.
Rebecca. Rebecca.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Head full of hair.
Professor Ball, I've always been a disruptor. All of my classes I've ever been in, I was a disruptor. So now we're here for a real serious lesson today. Now I'm gonna yield the floor to you because otherwise we're gonna be laughing the rest of the way. But we got some work to do, Professor. And
no doubt,
I'm gonna turn it over to you so we can talk about these political prisoners. Our political prisoners.
And I appreciate that. And with the permission of your crack staff, am I able to share? Is it okay if I share a screen very quickly? Is that or am I not able to do that? If maybe not, I tell you what,
David, producer David, are we able to do that?
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just drop in the private chat.
Drop the link and then I'll bring it up. Yeah, it won't allow me to do that.
Okay. Sorry about that. So I'm dropping the link in the private chat because I just wanted to highlight a new update.
Get to work,
everybody.
White slave.
Listen. I told you I am a disruptor. Please mute my mic.
Please don't be a disruptor, Ben. Professor Ball, continue. Thank you.
Right. No doubt. But there's this new story that has come out. This one published in the Workers' World about a new filing in the case of Mumia Abu Jamal, who is one of the more prominent and long-held political prisoners, by Dr. Johanna Fernandez, that one of his most ardent supporters and advocates. And the short of it is that new evidence has been unearthed that shows more of the details of the chicanery and abuse in the trial and continued imprisonment of Mumia. Mumia, a former journalist, supporter of the MOVE movement, Black Panther Party, award-winning journalist at that, who has been locked up. Kalonji, check me on that 1980-81 for the killing of police officer Daniel Faulkner. 40 years, where there has been, and I'm being insufficient here in saying there has been decades of, from the beginnings of the trial, of legal abuses, injustices in the carrying out of the process of locking him up. And these new sets of boxes, 6 boxes of case files that were found in the storage of the DA's office back in December 2018, show even more complicity in the state abusing the rights of Mumia and assuring that he not be given a just trial. And certainly free to this point. Now, there's much more to say. We can get into some of the details. So Kalonji knows. Yeah, please go ahead.
Can I ask
please
you a point for a point of information? You're saying how many files were found in the DA's office?
Let me just quickly read here. With continued pressure from below, 2022 will be the year that forces the Philadelphia DA's office and the Philly Police Department to answer questions about why they framed imprisoned radio journalist and veteran Black Panther Mumia Abu-Jamal. Abu-Jamal's attorneys have filed a PCRA petition focused entirely on the 6 boxes of case files that were found in a storage room of the DA's office in late December 2018, after the case being heard before Judge Leon Tucker in the Court of Common Pleas concluded, end quote. So in other words, they found 6 boxes of material that is further evidence. And there's so much more going back to the Judge Sabo trial initially of him basically saying, I'm going to help fry the nigger, as I believe was the exact quote. But there's all of these anyway, so there's just more evidence of the state's complicitness in railroading Mumia Abu-Jamal. And the real issue, and the point I always want to make about all of this is that the real issue, whatever the claimed details are of the trial or of the case itself, is the fact that Mumia represents a wing of struggle that this country has been demonizing ever since we've been dragged over here. He represents a militant approach and response and call to us to organize that continues to be demonized. So the continued presence of him and others as political prisoners is evidence of itself, by itself, of the lack of change and progress we've made in this country.
Right. And I think we got to keep in mind too that Mumia he's been a political target for many years, starting at age 14 when he joined the Black Panther Party. He was a award-winning journalist before he was framed and sent to these gulags. Of course, he was sentenced to death row, and after 20 years, they realized, or they decided that they would take him off death row, and they kept him on death row for another 10 years because the police unions were trying to get him, keep him in I mean, they wanted to see him dead, basically. So it began with not only his work with the Black Panther Party, but what really catapulted the state's disdain for him was when he was fighting on behalf of the MOVE organization going back to 1988. So Mumia, we interviewed him very recently on Black Power Media, and he's in good health now, but he's also been suffering from different types of medical condition, including hepatitis, Hep C, and also different ailments of the heart. He just had a heart surgery situation earlier this year, and he's been trying to break him, but he is, I mean, he's still strong. We have to know that the man's been locked up since he was 27 years old. He's now 67. So when we talk about political prisoners, oftentimes we think of like old men, but many of these prisoners, these brothers and sisters who have been framed and incarcerated, have been locked up since early 20s and mid 20s, so on and so forth. And you have folks not only like Mumia, but like Sundiata Kohli, who's now 84 years old, who they still denying parole. So
at 84 years old.
Yes.
At 84 years old, they're denied. Yes. But you know what they'll let an 84-year-old do? Say good morning to you at Walmart on Christmas Day.
Oh, how about that? That's deep.
On the real.
Ringing the bell. It's crazy that what they'll do is want to paint him as cop killer, those things. And how in America, once you say this person murdered a cop or was affiliated with anything like that, they're going to, we see what they do with that, because Blue Lives Matter over Black lives. That's just what it is. That's America's way. And so when they paint somebody as that, this police force, the union, everybody, because once you have on uniform, they just believe that they're all one, but they're still moving in white supremacist ways. That's just what it is as well. So it's like when we hear about Mumia, I have a friend of mine who used to discuss it for years. And then he talked about some recent news of him he posted, and he's like, why isn't anyone talking about this? This is because, they don't want to look at the bigger picture. They don't want to look at his work. They don't want to like who he is, what he's done, his history, just putting out the fact that, he's associated with killing a cop, and that's it. Once people hear that, it's like nobody wants to move forward in the conversation and trying to get to know anything about what his history was, what his walk was, what were the reasons, what parties he was affiliated with,
what happened,
you know, how he helped the community, anything. Those are going to be those things that we don't know. And that's almost like the way that they want us to, what is it, critical race theory, how they don't want us to know a lot about the true stories that happened to a lot of these people that we know, their names, like Martin Luther King, how they fluffed all of that, how they fluffed a lot of this information. They don't want you to know it. They just want you to see this, whatever they want to teach you, that's it. But if we read about Mumia, if we read about his walk, if we read about the history of it, if we read about the things that he was fighting for, we'll have a better understanding, right? Because being Black in America is not easy. So when we have somebody willing to fight for us, willing to give up their life for us, there's always more to that story. So I think that with in this particular case, it would serve us to definitely refer back to the interview that you guys did with him recently, and for us to get to know the history of what he's been through.
I was going to say, do you have any? Did you bring any of the interview that you guys did with him recently? Do we have any of that?
No, we actually didn't bring it is an audio interview, of course.
Okay.
We can have that.
Right, because we would have needed to convert it for you. But listen, next time we obviously we're going to do this on a regular basis. Because James, I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut you off. I was just curious if we had that clip. But we want to do this on an ongoing basis. So feel free to send any of those type of interviews, any of those clips from your episodes that helps highlight this, because the truth of the matter is what Rebecca said is true. The moment you hear a cop killer,
right,
even Black folks who understand exactly how that plays out, when they throw us on the hood and tell us to stop resisting, and we already in the handcuffs, right? But they say cop killer, and we all just turn our heads. And it's a pretty convenient way to get us to look away from people who have been in prison since they were 27. Man.
Now, I would just go ahead. Just to add on to what you're saying, and to what Rebecca said about, folks not, having information on Mumia. The sad thing about it, internationally, he has a very large international support effort going right now. Everyone from Richard Wright's daughter, Julia Wright, to France Fanon's daughter, and I mean, he actually has a street named after him in France. You know what I mean? Mumia has written 11 books since he's been locked up. So it's not, it's not like
it's an American.
And I need folks to understand, when you say political prisoners, all political prisoners aren't accused of murdering police officers.
That's right.
Martin Luther King, whose birthday is coming up, he was considered a political prisoner for the short time he was locked up, not because of the fact that there was any crimes committed, but because of his political beliefs and actions. So we got to keep that in mind. So when we talk about political prisoners, it's not just a situation where they're accused of, and in fact, it's not even a question of guilt or innocence. You know what I mean? We often talk about in America how we have a right to defend ourselves, so many folks have defended themselves. In the case of Assata Shakur, where she was shot on the New Jersey Turnpike with her hands up, you know what I'm saying, with her arms up. So we have to understand, exactly what we're doing.
I mean, people should remember and be aware of what the case involved, what the claim involved. The official claim involves Mumia leaving his cab to defend his brother, who was being accosted violently by the police, and then shots were fired. A cop is dead. Mumia is himself shot. So one way I think to look at it is, even if he is said to have done, and there's a lot of evidence to suggest he didn't do it, but even if he was said to have done what he did, why wouldn't we want to be as vigorous in his defense anyway? In other words, so like when we talk about George Floyd or Dante Wright or whoever else, what if someone associated with Dante or George stepped in, intervened, and while suffering a shot themselves, the cop is the one that is wounded or dead, and Dante and George survive? Would we then turn our back on that person who intervened, or do we really need to wait until we're all dead in the street before we step up and say that there's something wrong? So that would just be one part of it. But then when you look at the case itself and the politics involved, nobody, even if he is said to have done what he is accused of, nobody should have to suffer what Mumia has suffered, and for the reasons he has suffered it, which have nothing ultimately to do with killing the police officer. It is all about his politics and his journalism work.
And it's I like how you guys broke that down, Kalonji, making sense to, you don't have to be a cop killer or whatever to be a political prisoner. And when they're in these prisons, you guys mentioned breaking down. down. So his health is diminishing, and they don't give a damn. They're just like, he deserves, we won't give him anything. His health is diminishing. This man has been in here for decades. They want to break your mental. They want to do that, and they start really young. We see even in just the jail system, right? They'll just throw you in there, say no phone calls. We've seen where people have gone into just jail just to be there for a night and have not left it because they are dead. Right. And this is the system that the police officers do in here. And like you said, it doesn't have to just be something where, he's possibly killed a cop. It could be just where you stand on a black situations, on black matters. And the fact that you do stand up for black people, they'll throw you in jail just because of that. They'll try to break you and break your mind and try to make you like think that that's going to shift how you feel. No, I'm going to stay on this. But now they're going to say you don't deserve any meals. You don't deserve any health care. I mean, the system is already messed up in that way. But, they're going to make sure that you break. And here we still have, see this man being able to communicate and talk after all these years. But I know it's doing a number on him. I know it. I know it.
Yeah, right. Remember, a journalist. He's a journalist. So that means that any one of us on this platform today can be the next Mumia. You have to understand that he was interviewing people like Bob Marley. He wasn't just a political journalist. He wasn't just, worried about the movement, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? There's interviews that you can check out with. I mean, how many people interviewed Bob Marley? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, like, come on, man. This is
he's legendary.
Yeah, serious guy. So
there's a couple things that y'all are saying here that all connects. And Rebecca, one of the things you pointed out is how they break it down on levels of analysis, right? They break it down on 3 levels and then they toss it out. Here's the thing with this country has no problem handling people that they deem to be a threat to it. None. But they don't seem to think those people on January 6th pose a sufficient enough threat to remotely get some kind of punishment like this brother got right here. People who want to overthrow the government, I mean, not want to, but actually try to, versus people who fight on behalf of black lives. Do we not see the juxtaposition of what this empire really thinks about black folk?
No, that's pretty clear. I mean, the whole discussion around January 6th is it's just a new propaganda media spectacle now, the way they'll turn, 9/11 or Veterans Day or some commemoration of a war into some, flag waving event to remind people of what the appropriate politics are. Yeah. And we could even debate, to what extent we thought January 6th was some sort of takeover or threat, or to whatever extent even intelligence agencies were in themselves increasingly reported to having been involved with that. But the point still remains that whatever was happening, and certainly the way it's being recast and retold, is to remind everybody that there is nothing left of the Democratic Party. There is nothing, appropriate about, uprisings or criticism of the state or the material conditions of the people held within it. So all of that is what is being done here. And then Mumia stands as not just a suffering individual, but political prisoners like him are symbols to that same effect, to say, look, if you want to rise up in a certain direction, this is the punishment. Because yes, while some of the so-called insurrectionists of January 6th have some prison sentences and whatnot, there hasn't been some crackdown on them the way there was on the Black Power movement, the Black liberation struggle, or people like Mumia. So again, that was why I'll stop here where I start, that the very fact that Mumia remains and others remain, Mutulu Shakur, Sundiata Kohli remain incarcerated, is evidence of the absence of change and the absence of real progress in this country.
That's right. Brother Changa.
Muted, my
You're
man.
Muted.
Oh man, we got to show him how to unmute over there. There you go. Oh wait,
there we go.
There it is. Hey, I was saying some cold stuff, man. I mean, y'all.
Right.
I think Dr. Ball muted me and said, "Man, you ain't gonna get this one up on me this time." But,
that's how we do it, BPM. You gotta get in when you can get in. It's a struggle. It's more over there, boy.
Yes. You gotta go for yours. You get tossed out the car, ran over. Yeah, to the point, man. It's like, we're clear. You have political prisoners. The longest held political prisoner in the United States is Rochelle McGee, and he's been incarcerated for 57 years, going to 58 years. You know what I mean? He was one of the comrades of Jonathan Jackson. You know what I mean? So we're talking about Jonathan Jackson's been dead since 1970. He was locked up before then. So you're talking about 57, 58 years now. And I mean, it's ridiculous. You have folks like Sirhan getting out of prison. You know what I mean? You have folks like John Hinckley Jr., who shot the president of the United States.
I didn't think you could get worse than a person killing a nominee for the president of the United States, but a person who actually shot the president of the United States. Both them, man, go on, keep preaching.
Man. We're talking about, when you talk about white power, they remind you of your place on this planet. And even if the black guy, the one black guy who decided to run up in the Capitol as well, I mean, I'm quite sure that his time is going to be a little bit longer. Yeah, because they got to remind him that you still.
We say that all the time too. Yep.
Yeah. Know who you think you are, Negro. Don't get it twisted.
You want to stand in the middle of the in the hall, just like chilling, like, yeah, what's going on, man? You about to be like the longest.
Wait a minute,
oh, man.
David, we're gonna see with Dave. It's not even a test. David is the greatest producer on the face of the planet. David, go get Antufus. It's been a long time since we ran that clip, but black folks, y'all better know better than to run up in these crowds with audiences that are white, thinking you're gonna come out scot-free. Because this dude ran up with the Proud Boys one time and came out with no teeth.
Wow. So is this your interview with Mumia here?
Yeah, that's actually one of them. We have that clip, and we have another one that's a little shorter. But that was the first interview we did. And I don't think I think that was probably the first interview he did since he had his heart surgery, if I'm not mistaken. So
wow.
Yeah.
Man, we could talk about this all day.
But before, sorry, Ben. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Rebecca. Because I was going to ask another question.
So much I love how you guys break down political prisoners, because it could be anyone. It can be any one of us that are sitting right here. I know that there was, and I forget his name. Georgia's colleague passed yesterday. I know he was a big journalist, and he passed yesterday, and I forget his name. Yes, and
Mel.
Yes.
Mel Reeves.
Yes. And she was saying how, a lot of journalists, she said, they asked her, how do you consider yourself, as a journalist? She said, I'm just a journalist. I'm just somebody who works in the media. And he was telling her, hey, you're an activist. And she said, I don't consider myself an activist. But when he started breaking down, listen, just being black, covering this content, covering all of this, you're naturally just an activist. It just comes with it. You can't, you ask a white person as a journalist, what they doing. It's just like they can regurgitate the news. But when we're talking about our issues, or we're talking about things that are happening in our communities, you're naturally an activist. When you're choosing these stories, you're just naturally an activist. So when I hear about Mumia, when I hear us, when I see us, and I see the stories that we choose to cover, and I see the content that we choose to cover, it could be us at any moment. We know a lot of people who aren't journalists, who are maybe musicians, who have been have been muted because they talk about political issues, right? We know so many people who have been just because they've been just talking about political things. It could be hunger, right? In black communities, and they'll shut you down. It's the vaccine, for people to have easy access to getting the vaccine in black communities. They'll literally blacklist you just for that. We see this happening every day. And it's really sad to see people who are fighting for this movement, or anything, or just anything that helps us as a people. And it also brings me back to, if we go to Breonna Taylor, right? The cop shooting into her home, her boyfriend shooting back, and they instantly, put him as the criminal, right? And try to frame that whole situation as them being criminal just because the cop was shot, or whatever the case may be. And this is where I'm saying, like, it's up to us to change the narrative and change the rhetoric. It's gonna be, it's rocky. A lot of us may be put into jail just for going to cover a protest, while them folks is pulling up to the Capitol on January 6th, doing all kinds of stuff. Ain't been reprimanded, okay? None of them. And
they get vegan meals.
That's what I was going to say, man. The health of Mumia, and the your boy, the shaman, the dude with the horns in the Capitol, in the Senate, making a mockery of all that is the security of this empire, gets a vegan meal. You see how they treat white terrorist insurrectionists as opposed to black people fighting for black lives.
Or McDonald's, if you pour white trash in South Carolina, you can get a Happy Meal.
Burger King meal.
Stop
Right.
at Burger King on the way.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
Wrong.
No, I mean
when you pulling up to protest to kill folks, you can get dapped up. You know what I'm saying? They're telling you, how you know, just because you told the cop that you love him. I mean, listen, you're gonna get
throw you a bottle
to
of
the
water.
car, you're gonna get a meal, and then you're gonna become a celebrity after the fact.
A damn celebrity.
So I mean, you again, rest in power to Mel Reeves, because Mel represented an ethic that certainly is exemplified in Mumia. That you and the way it could be any field. If you I've attempted to engage the academy from the perspective of an activist. Mel attempted to engage journalism from the perspective of an activist. We engage media spaces like YouTube, et cetera, from the perspective. So it could be anything that medical doctors, people talk about Che Guevara being the best example of that. You enter a field with an idea of how you want to practice it and apply that trade. And there's a penalty for that. There can often be a penalty for that, whether it's marginalization or worse. So Mel certainly represented that, and we need people like that who engage journalism from the perspective of I'm working for the liberation of my community and my people. So I will, if my talent is writing or producing media, I'm going to do it in service of that struggle. And that is certainly what Mel was an exemplar of, and certainly a part of the reason why Mumia is still locked up.
Listen, I have to be. I'm gonna be honest here. I did not know Mel, and I did not know his work. And actually, I need to give Georgia a call back because I was talking to Georgia yesterday, and she mentioned it, and it didn't register to me because I didn't know the significance of his work. But of course, I knew the significance of her relationship, of a friend who dies. But when you don't have knowledge, you really can't understand like the scope and the scale of the impact of a person's work. And Professor Ball, thank you for giving that impromptu eulogy, because now you can understand, even those of us who didn't know of him beforehand, we can understand what it is to take whatever work we're doing and do it from the perspective of an activist to honor his memory.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah. Man, this has been a it's been a heavy episode. And it's a great episode nonetheless. I do want you guys to take a look at this clip. This is a young black man who fancies himself to be a member of the Proud Boys, a young black man who followed the Proud Boys into battle, and a young black man who didn't come out the same way he went in. Let's take a look at Antufus.
Very hard on getting more speakers. The website will be back up. The rally is going to be great. We're going to have police protection. Everyone's going to be protected. I'm working on everything. I've been working very hard on everything. Will no longer be any personal issues, no infighting. That's been taken care of as well and established. We are good to go. All we're going to be doing now is beating the living shit out of all the people trying to stop us. They knock out my front teeth. Working very hard on getting more speakers. The website will be back up. The rally's going to be great. We're going to have police protection.
This was during the terrorist attack at the Capitol?
I'm working on everything. I've been working very hard on everything.
Wait, where'd it go?
Will no longer be any personal issues, no infighting. That's been taken care of as well and established. We are good to go. All we're going to be doing now is beating the living shit out of all the people trying to stop us. They knock out my front teeth.
Pause it, bro. I do think this is a January 6th incident. He went to January 6th.
We covered
with all
it, but I don't
those
remember
plans.
was it from January 6th? We have a lot of folks just cooning out here. But I don't really know. But this is a great example of black people need to sit down when it comes to these things. Why are you guys fighting these fights? They are never going to fight for you. Like,
exactly.
I need y'all to understand this. They are never going to fight for you. You're going to be lost in the sauce while they trying to figure out. You're trying to make orders telling them, hey, there they go, go beat them up. Next thing you know, they looking at you like, but they're confused. But he's black too. Now your teeth knocked
Yeah,
out.
and
Now you in
they
jail.
did say it was before January.
It was
6th.
before
They said
January
he was
6th.
at a BLM protest.
Oh, so he
And,
was going to show up to beat up. Oh my God.
He's going to beat up his own goddamn people. These
And they-
Oh, okay. He ran into the right one.
They were
He
like,
probably
"You're
ran
black."
into the right one. Exactly.
I think Ben probably clocked him.
I had to reach up a little bit, fellas. Yeah, no, I
Knocked
had
the teeth all the way out.
Hey, listen, I ain't tell y'all when
we know what
Ben
happens
rolled
when
up
you
on
tell Ben we got to vote for a Republican.
Yeah.
Bet
I
duck.
told y'all Ben rolled up on me in the supermarket. He said, "Hey man, I had a mask on and everything. Hey man, what's your name? Kalonji, whatever.
I'm
I was on your show.
You can't
Hold
say
on, bro.
that
Like, what's
now.
going on? I
Hey,
said, nah,
Kalonji,
kid, it wasn't me. He said, no, it was you.
Kalonji was like, hold on, slow down now, slow down, little brother.
Why
I
would you
was-
pull up on him like that, Ben?
Well, because it was.
I was higher than the light bill when I saw him too. I'm like, man, you don't get your ass out of here.
So was I.
That's why you
Like,
acted
you
that
can't
way.
roll. You can't roll
Hey,
up on
my
me
daughter
and
like, that's 5-0 run.
Knowing both, man, look here. That was funny. I'm glad to know that we were both in the same kind of astronomical estate. Because
No
let me
doubt.
tell you, man, when I saw you, I'm like, I think I know this brother. And I said, but see, I thought
You
lived,
never met in person. You
we
guys
never
never met
know.
in person.
I thought he lived in the hood. He lived over there on the
They put me in the
nice
hood.
side. He lived on the. See now I live in the
We
hood.
fighting for the hood, but we gentrifying the other side. You see
I
what
got
I'm saying?
gentrified.
But like
Reverse
Kalonji
gentrified
says, he
side.
just looks like that.
You look
I
like
got
this.
gentrified in reverse, Rebecca.
I like nice shit, Ben.
So we got two bougie revolutionaries on two people who are.
Hold on now.
No, Rebecca is the classiest, bougiest
I
revolutionary.
reverse gentrify. Listen, and where the rent is cheaper, they gonna find me. Okay, I need to make sure
That's
that
her
I'm able
revolutionary
to
action.
live too, and I too can enjoy the good things. I'm just gonna call my mama and them, friends and them, and let them know where the spot's at. Listen, this is where it's at. The grass
It'll be
is
black
greener
soon
over here.
enough.
Exactly.
Right. The rent is cheaper over here. Like let's pull up. Let's
How
you
is
know
it
what I'm
cheaper
saying?
in the nicest side of town, man?
Hey,
I don't know.
Cucamonga
It's
cracker killers.
cheaper.
You know how that goes.
Wait a minute.
I can't lie. Police officers have, and I told you guys that there with a reverse gentrifying, you know, it still comes. Like police officers be at my door. They used to, but now I have a black female officer who makes sure nobody comes to my door. But before that, when I first moved here as the only black person in my building, I had many police officers coming to the door because I was playing songs with other languages because I'm Haitian. So they couldn't understand, you know, white folks couldn't understand on my floor what's going on in this home. You know what I'm saying? So they would always call the police officers when I was playing. But if I would crack some country music up, you know, they wouldn't be a thing. It wouldn't be a thing. And country music ain't even got to be white, but they just relate to that.
Hey,
It ain't got to be a thing.
Rebecca, I gotta be fair to my old neighborhood. I don't live out there anymore, Kalonji, but to be fair to
Hey,
your
look, you
neighborhood,
trying to tell me you don't live. I just saw him in the store the other day. I don't live there no more.
I'm in political and economic exile. I'm not a prisoner. I'm in exile.
You in trouble, sucker. Shut up. You just sleeping on the sofa now. Let's stop.
Listen,
hey man, don't tell all my business. Listen.
We are all revolutionizing every area that we're going into. I don't care where I am. I'm going to make it. It's going to be black. We're going to make it black. It doesn't matter. It's like nothing here. I don't feel like, you know, when I see ponytails swinging, that's not my texture down. You know, where I used to live, I didn't like that too much, right? Because now rent is getting higher. So I said, you know what? Let me go check out where they stay and let me see. You know, let me go look at the numbers. Okay. So I went over here. The numbers was low. Brand new building. I said, why doesn't anybody else know about this nice little town that has all these new buildings that are affordable instead of like roach motels where that they're flipping, you know, into God knows what for the
charging $5,000 for one bedroom.
This is what I wanted to say about the neighborhood that I'm no longer a part of. It's like that.
You still have the Bentley though?
The region.
They took it. They took it, man. They came and got the Bentley too, bro.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother. I ain't mean to cut you off.
Now, our neighborhood ain't that nice. You can't have a Bentley in our neighborhood. Well, it is a very nice middle class. Would you say middle class, upper middle class? But it's black.
Too,
it's black. I mean, it's black. Like everywhere you turn is black. The grocery store, it's so
And
black.
that doesn't mean it got to be hood
When I
because
saw,
it's black.
well, no, it's not. It wasn't hood at all. It was it was like Mayberry out there, man. It was the nicest place I have ever lived in my life. It was so black though that when I saw the first white person out there, I was like, where they going?
Damn it, David.
I was like, who? David.
Damn
God
it,
damn
David.
it. I didn't see that video. Listen, with the last 2 minutes that we have, and fellas, thank y'all so much for coming on. Tell everybody how they can support your work.
Man,
we go
Dr.
watch
Ball, you wanna rock it, brother?
I mean, I think the easiest thing to do is definitely go to blackpowermedia.org, blackpowermedia.org, where you can find all of our shows, all the social media, all the ways to support, get involved, and just add us to your media diet. It's really just that simple. We're not in competition with anybody.
Go ahead.
It depends. I mean, so like right now, like my show is on right now. So like I got a show, we got morning shows, we got evening shows, we got shows that pop up whenever it's convenient. So that's why you just got to click the bell and get the notifications. And
that's right.
And when shows are on at the same time, I don't ask that you leave Ben's show to check mine out. I just say, come check mine out after Ben's. That's all. That's all, so that's it. In all seriousness, we want to add to people's media ecology, their environment, their diet. So just add us. It's just work us in when you get time, and take advantage of the fact that it's one more opportunity to not watch some mainstream corporate nonsense. That's
Amen.
I like
Amen.
that.
And check out the archives with Ben too, because we had him on this political.
Man,
we did.
You definitely don't want to miss that.
Up until I saw Ben in person, I thought Ben was like 7'3".
That's funny you didn't recognize me.
So look, when we come back, Kalonji, when we come back next time, we're gonna have clips from our interviews with PPs, and let's get a clip of that Ben joint. Let's show folks what Ben is really like. What Ben is really like.
Ben was beefing with a Republican. He's wilding on the show. Man.
I would love to see it.
Okay, would love to.
We would love to
I had
see
my
it.
power.
Ben was like, step up to me in public. I was like, oh, damn.
Right.
Hey, I was like,
if you want to see Ben all in your camera like this,
just like that,
all up in the thing like this, that's what you need.
He was in there with us. I ain't even know.
I would love to see it. I would love to see it.
Notice what I told him. I said, I don't care how tall you are. What you
did say that.
So I was
and that's when I found out Ben was 5'7".
That's why I recognized him in the grocery store. I'm like, man, this dude look like Ben. I said, what's your name? He said, it's me, Ben. I said, Ben.
Hey, it's me, Benjamin.
I cannot. And next time we have him on, we have to make sure that we balance it out. We're gonna have Professor Jared Ball with our Dr. Mac.
Nah, not yet.
We're gonna have you guys. I can't wait. You guys, let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Next time you guys come on, it's gonna be real. It's gonna be real nice. It's gonna be real cool.
Right on.
All these, nice good black men doing it. And like he said, there's no competition. We're all doing the same thing. We're all working alongside each other. And I love that we can lift each other up in this space. And I think we need more of that. I love it. I love to see it.
Matter of fact, we owe y'all a visit. We're gonna come over and visit y'all one morning on y'all's morning show.
Okay.
Let
Absolutely.
us over, Ben. Because we can't just be like, oh, we
that's because
coming
Ben know
over.
I live. That's why.
and they know how small I am. So
that damn Napoleon complex, Rebecca. You know how that go, Rebecca. Napoleon always think you rule everything.
It's true, but look, I'm sitting here waiting for the invite.
Black Napoleon is what you can call me.
No, the invite. This is the invite. We just need to work out the details, and then we gotta have because we have we got a DJ too. We have a DJ battle, morning little DJ spin mix off, all kind. We can do all kinds of stuff. Let's get the ear doctor involved as well. So but definitely we do need to work that out. I think that'd be a great idea.
Yeah, most definitely.
And you can tell your students too. You know how you had them last time watch the show and do a report. We can make
extra credit is a hell of a drug. I try to tell you.
Hey man, listen, and internships they actually give credit too. Let me give you a call after. Listen, I wanted to let you.
We do need
know.
to talk about that. That's right. Yeah,
no, for real. I mean, because there's. I believe in good work, getting good credit, and paid internships. We don't work nobody for free around here. But anyway, the point is, I need to let y'all go. I need to let y'all go. But there's a HBCU story, Rebecca. I don't even know if you got a chance to see it about the bomb threats against HBCUs. Did anybody see that?
I did.
Okay,
I just saw, and then honestly, in my selfishness, I saw Morgan was not on the list, and I just kept clicking. I was like, as long as they leave us alone, we good. No, but I know, in all seriousness, I did see it, and
you see what light skinned Negroes would do to you.
They do every time.
Mac and Dr. Jared Ball. Listen, both of them together, you know, because they give that like that real light skin, but really really black. You know, that's it be them.
Overcompensate, baby. That's how you got to do it. Overcompensate.
And that is why I fight.
I gotta wear my blackness. I gotta wear that joint.
Even the art in the background, they just be the blackest folks. Like
they do, man. I'm on the platform.
I lost my melanin. I lost my hair. I gotta do what I get. I gotta do whatever I can do.
At least you tall. At least you ain't lose your height.
That's it. Like 6. All I got is that. That's it. Over 6 feet. That's all I got.
I thought Jared was shorter than you at first. I mean, I'm dead serious. When I met Jared, I'm like, damn. I thought he was. Yeah, I confused y'all. You know what I'm saying?
I can tell Jared is tall. It's the you know, because we've been in the space for a while. You know, because COVID-19, we've been in this space for a while, sitting in these chairs. You can tell with the chair seatings, like how people, you know,
but you can't tell how tall you are, Rebecca, because you every bit of like what you know, you're taller than what your position, what your mic.
Yeah, I am. I'm tall. It's
we really did not. We really just brought up HBCUs, and because our our lightly melanated friend over there said he didn't care because Morgan State wasn't on there. We really just laughed past the fact that these white folks out here trying to blow up. Now there were no actual bombs found, but these are threats. Oh, Roland Martin's up for the report. Let's listen to Roland.
Men across the nation now investigating bomb threats at several historically black colleges and universities.
Well, Jennifer, the threat initially came in on Tuesday through a 911 call made to APD. Now, both Atlanta Police and the Spelman Public Safety Department searched the Manley College Center here at Spelman, but didn't find anything. Now, right now, the students here at Spelman are on winter break, so no one had to be evacuated as police searched the campus. Now, according to the Washington Post, at least 8 HBCUs across the nation received threats between yesterday and today, including Howard University, Florida Memorial University, Xavier University of Louisiana, and North Carolina Central University. Now, in some cases, they've triggered lockdowns, but in each case, the schools ultimately gave the all clear. Now, it's unclear if the threats may be linked or racially motivated. Now, we also reached out to Clark, Atlanta, and Morehouse, which are both nearby, and both of them say they have not received any recent threats. Now, Spelman says that the FBI is now involved, and this is still an active investigation.
And HBCUs across the country received bomb threats. The schools included Howard University, North Carolina Central, Xavier, Spelman, Texas Southern University, Norfolk State, University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, Florida Memorial, and Prairie View A&M. The threats led to evacuations and investigations by law enforcement officials. Presently, no credible threats were found, and students and faculty are safe. Florida Memorial tweeted in part yesterday, after a thorough search, no suspicious packages were found and no one was harmed. The campus returned to normal. Today, officials have not released any leads on the bomb threats, and we're certainly keeping our eyes on the story and will give you any updates.
All right. No, we
know they killed us. We don't give a goddamn. Yeah, he look like goddamn Ben, and then Ben looking like shit.
Except Roland is actually tall. Roland, like I met Roland. I was like, "Hey, how you doing, man?"
Is he? Rebecca, why
is he?
Yeah, Roland got it. Roland,
Rebecca, you muted
in the Matrix.
Rebecca. Yeah, she's in the Matrix.
Girl, unmute yourself.
David, don't mute me again. Thank you. Listen, all of these schools that, you know, yes, Florida A&M is in that list, and of course they probably forgot about Bethune. But still, I think she said it's unclear that it's, you know, it is unclear that it's racially motivated, but it's all black schools, it's HBCUs. Like, how is it not racially motivated, if anything?
They get real logical when they don't want to come to a conclusion that they otherwise would come to. But you're right.
Yeah.
Rebecca.
Yeah.
Why these schools? That's like what I'm trying to make a correlation of. Why these schools? And why it's so many other HBCUs out there? Why these?
I mean, they're probably the ones that they know. I mean, whoever is doing these bomb threats is probably the ones that they know.
We need to find whatever PWI was beat by all these schools, and I think we'll find the culprit.
Oh wow, wow!
I just saw a report on my phone that said there were ascots found at every particular school that was threatened. I don't know where they came from. They said RM was the.
It's an inside job.
Yeah, I think it's an inside job,
It
man.
could be because I know Fam, they couldn't touch Fam. Fam been whooping behind all season. But I will say this
Benjamin
too.
Dixon Show is not responsible for any of the comments made by these two gentlemen beneath us.
News and views and opinions. And those is not.
Right.
That's it.
Hey man,
if it was a PWI, we know that this would have been something that was more major, something that was all over the place. We had to shut down schools until we really figured it out. If we could actually get an all clear, and why was it an all clear? Who did you speak with? What were the details associated with that? It's just kind of like, we
good. Y'all good. Go back.
He ain't had to threaten 3 days. We good. They ain't coming over here.
And plus, ain't nobody even in school around now. Everybody done went to virtual learning in most of these colleges. Yeah,
but that's the other thing too. Yeah. And it's also winter break, at least for us. I don't know if everybody's on the exact same schedule, but there's not going to be that many people there right now. The other thing I would just want to throw out there, just as a loving challenge to my HBCU community, would be that what exactly was the perceived threat that these institutions are said to be producing.
Yeah.
Because I happen to think that not enough of a political threat emanates from those of us who work at these universities or produce students and graduates from these universities. So I'm not entirely sure, other than the symbolic nature of attacking blackness, which is, certainly enough to get enough white folks out of bed in the morning.
Man, you couldn't hear me in the background, Professor Ball, but I was screaming at the top of my lungs. What actual threat comes from these universities? My God,
that's what I'm saying. Even that definition. I was just going to say that I think could be challenged as a definition in terms of calling them black institutions. I think this is an ongoing issue that I particularly have, and people can come check out my HBCU project at imixwhatilike.org that I'm building and working on this, because I think that there needs to be more said and explained and discussed about what these institutions have been historically and how they operate today. Beyond the symbolism and beyond the mythology and a different world hype. So calling them black institutions is I think again up for some discussion and debate and definition.
I see where you're going.
Go ahead, Rebecca.
No. Okay. That would be a conversation for another day. You were here and we discussed something to that extent, and you were saying how some of these historically they are black, but today in the way that they function and the money that they take and who they answer to, if we're gonna go with that definition, they ain't really black. So, but historically
they have a form of
conversation for another day.
They have a
historically they were mostly white. In the sense of their ownership and their purpose, like Morgan is named after a white man, Howard named after a white man.
Don't come down the road. Back up. Don't come down the road to Daytona too much now.
Well, didn't we know that lady started school with $1.50?
Well, no, because she partnered with the white Methodist.
With the white man. Yep. Cookman. Yep.
But we ain't
there
taking
was the general
no white government money every year.
So who?
It's the general
student loans. Damn it.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Look, I shout out my former colleague, Dr. Jelani Favors, who has a great book on the history of HBCUs, where he takes a slightly different perspective from me. So just so people could, be aware that there is an ongoing discussion and balance here. But the point is that for some of us, the question is, were these institutions created by whites for the purpose of controlling black intellectual production and politics? And then today we see, so if you just go down the hallway at Morgan State in the president's office, you see all of the pictures of all the white presidents until the last, 50, 60 years or so, where the first black presidents start to emerge. But then the question becomes, is it blackface and colonial ties to broader politics and economics? And class questions, all that kind of stuff comes up. So yeah, there's a lot. It's a little more complicated than I'm even giving it, in this.
That would be a good place to
the Manchurian
come back and have that conversation. Because coming from Florida A&M University and historically knowing that we started our university mostly being black because we couldn't go to the white schools. So that's all I knew. So me going into my HBCU, ignorantly believing that other HBCUs too were just as Black historically as mine. And, you know, having that pointed out is very, very interesting. Because for me, I, you know, would like to think that a lot of these schools, you know, historically who started Black are now functioning and taking money from and, you know, making ties with a lot of white, other universities. Like FSU has always tried to take over across the street at Florida A&M and things of that sort. So it's like a long story. But knowing this is very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Very
I never. We got to follow those ascots, though, man. I'm trying to figure out like who do we know that wears an ascot?
It's been in every one of those schools in the
last one of them, and actually reporting on them. I don't know.
When you can't get the news, you make the news, man.
That's right, boy.
Hey, fellas, listen, thank y'all so much for hitting us up and joining us for this. This morning, man. Y'all been hanging out with us for a full hour. Y'all be sure to go over and check out both of their podcasts. And we got to get you back. I know we have you scheduled every first Friday for Free 'em All Fridays. So at a minimum, we're going to see you in a month.
No doubt.
Right on. Appreciate you all very much. And shout out to your audience as well.
Thanks so much.
Thanks so much. Thank y'all.
Love you guys, and see you guys when you guys come back. It's gonna be even blacker with 2 light skins, few browns.
We're gonna have a whole rainbow.
People with whole damn rainbow.
And people with hair.
And people with
hair. People with hair and height. Like I didn't get it either. Kalonji, he was like, I don't recognize this Negro. This little tiny.
It ain't gonna
Negro
be. It's not gonna be 3 thumbs. That's what the bald headed man look like. Thumbs.
Benjamin,
it ain't gonna be that on here.
And Ben had a snorkel on. It was in the summertime. He had a snorkel covering his joint. I was like, damn.
I don't go out the house unless I'm like this. God. Fellas, hey, we appreciate y'all.
Wow.
Lots of love to all of y'all.
Peace, everybody.
No doubt.
All right, peace, y'all. Thank y'all again.
Salute.
Yes, indeed.
Peace.
My camera's gonna go out again in a minute, y'all. We're already in the after party. We have about
Ben
13
always
minutes
trying
left.
to leave. See?
No, I'm not trying to leave. No.
Okay.
What y'all want to do now?
We got a
I
story
got
to
some
tell.
clips in there.
It ain't me. Look, it ain't me. We got a story to tell, and it ain't me. We're getting yelled at in the background by David, who muted me. David, I didn't mute myself. It was you, and you kept me on mute. But Ahmaud Arbery killers are being sentenced today.
What time is that happening?
I think it started now. It's already started. And then the other news that's being reported, I'm sure that y'all all heard now, is being reported that Sidney Poitier has passed away.
Had that been confirmed? Because I was looking for confirmation.
Yeah, it's been confirmed already. That's what I've been over here doing, searching and researching. A few people are starting to report it now. Yeah. But y'all, if you really think about it, we same thing with Betty White. You gotta understand, this is our older generation. We've had them for a long time, and it's time for these people to. It's time for them to start taking their rest, man.
They gotta rest.
They did what they needed to, what needed to be done. They really did.
Listen, man, I would tell you this: at the level of strategery, I know that's not a word, but I'm gonna borrow George Bush's word.
He's the first Black man to win the Best Actor Oscar, and it's interesting because. I mean, he's only 94. I mean, I can't say only 94 because that man has lived, because 94 is not an age that everybody is even seeing nowadays. But he is, we have a lot of our historic people who are passing away.
Changing of the guard.
Yeah. And so it's like a beautiful thing to know that they have lived through many generations.
Yeah.
That so many people didn't get an opportunity to see, but he's seen all the struggles in every single generation, but he's also seen progress. So a lot of times when we're just like, are our ancestors proud? Are they? We had living ancestors among us. And they've now gone in peace to see work. And I think it's, for us to pick up the baton where we can and do what we can. But
James, that's why I don't mind her cutting me off, because she usually says something really, really good. That was a blessing. You said we have ancestors living. We had them. They were here. They're elders. We don't call them ancestors till they pass over, but he was here. I felt that, Rebecca.
And we have so many more. He's somebody who did a lot of work, and somebody we can look at and we can say, you know what, it is done with him, and we're picking up the baton and doing what we need to do.
That's right.
You guys, it's not a sad thing when we hear about. I mean, it's sad, but it's like he's lived his life. Yeah. He's probably seen his grandchildren's children, and that kind of thing. It's a beautiful thing. I put that for all of us on here, because being somebody Black and living to 94 in this
A
America?
black man living to 94.
My God.
Yeah, in this America, right?
In this
Absolutely.
In this America. In this America.
Hallelujah.
And my raggedy camera. Blessed be
Ben,
the name.
what's going on with your camera?
Yeah, what's your camera?
I mean, I guess we put it to work.
BCC internet connection, because you used to always say it about mine. And now I've been look,
BCU. We dropped the C. You a university
y'all
now.
didn't go there. Y'all didn't go there.
I went there.
When it was
my
BCU?
degree say, it say university on it.
I'm gonna go back there and get my PhD.
I mean, you can roll your wig.
My PhD. My PhD.
You saw Rebecca?
I did that.
Rebecca. And then talking about he going back there to get his PhD. Child, Cookman ain't got no doctor program. Stop playing.
Well, I just have to think. I have to go make one. I'll go make one, and then I'll be done.
They just added it like last week. Let me stop.
Thank you. It's not there. You just,
that's okay. It's going to be the Benjamin Dixon. It's going to be the Benjamin Dixon School of Political Science and International Affairs.
Yes, but you were a part of their. You know they don't care about them. Listen, you were part of the band. They don't care about that degree over there. But the band.
Okay, so they'll let me come back and do I'll go back and dance with the band during halftime.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like the band
and pass out immediately.
Right.
Afterwards.
I'm about to say you ain't gonna let that happen.
It's gotten better. I hope that
my
they're
knees
not
are good. I just have a lot of extra cushion in front of me that ain't gonna let it happen. That's all. My knees are fine, but this 620 dozen pack. I
don't like that picture of Sydney. I don't like that picture of Sydney. I don't like the way that I know it's probably a movie, right?
That's true.
I don't like the way
In
that
Heat of the Night. Is that what the name of the show was?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, that was Jesus. I feel terrible because that wasn't Sidney Poitier in that. That was the other black man.
Who? See, look at me. All black folks look alike when they old. That's crazy. It's a lie. I'm kidding, guys. Just joking. Jokes.
We got too many white people watching us for you to joke like that.
I know, joke.
I know, right?
If you are white and at home and laughing, you're going to hell. You're going to hell if you are white and at home.
And you ain't going to our hell. It's gonna be like a different.
It's a different hell.
High. Right. You already ain't got no melanin. It's not. There's no protection.
Did you say spicy?
They can't take spicy foods. Mild is too spicy for them.
Okay, Sidney Poitier was in the Heat of the Night movie. Okay, the movie version. Okay, cool. Okay. See, I knew what I was talking about. Goddamn it.
Oh yeah, no. And I think that was an image from it. I you know what? The TV version versus the movie version. I got that. Okay.
Yeah, I forgot all about that. Yeah.
Oh man. I ain't laughed so hard in a long time. Did not our hearts burn within? As we traveled along the way. Y'all ready to go?
Then we got a funny clip or something, David. I know you got some in the bank.
No, there was one that I did drop that was funny, and I would love for you to drop that one where the delivery driver was looking at the door like, "What the hell that is?" A raccoon was attacking the lady. I need you guys to play that. It was very.
funny. Oh, you mean Dinner in the South was attacking the lady? Okay,
it was a raccoon.
Didn't you had coon before?
Man, yeah, I told you. I had about this much. Okay, here's a video.
Okay, so when you order DoorDash in the Valley, let's take a look.
Shoot. I have a big raccoon that keeps coming to my door. Really? That's creepy. Well, we have a stray cat, so we leave food out for the cat. See, look, it's right there. Go! Oh, shit, Bo!
He ran up.
Listen.
Oh, my God.
He pulled the hell up.
It's her inside saying telling her husband it's a raccoon outside trying to get me.
That's very scary.
Oh yeah, I'm about to pull up on that ass.
And then she was doing what white folks do, acting like go. Okay. And then it was her walking down while the black man stayed all the way. You could tell that was a black man all the way on the other side. As the DoorDash.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. And she's like, Yeah, it's a raccoon. He always tries to come, and we have a stray cat that we feed. The man's like,
man.
yeah, I'm not coming to the door.
Oh, that's the only reason I know he's black. The only reason I know he's black is because he didn't come to the door.
He did not come to the door.
Because when he said that's crazy, man, I thought he was white for a second. But I know we use that too.
No, listen.
If it was a white person, he would have been that's crazy.
He was focused on the raccoon
in the door.
He said it's right there. He said, look, it's right there. Why he's like, that's crazy. It's right there.
But what got me rolling is, did she say shit balls?
It is shit balls.
Yo, why is it why? No, it's not shit balls. That's what she said. Sorry, mama. It's shit balls. Oh, shit balls. Why do they have to be shit balls? That is crazy.
Why does it sound like a sound effect? Why the raccoon was about to run up on her like that?
Why
No.
when cracked the door open the second time, the raccoon said, "What's up?" I thought I said, "Close the door." What's up? I thought I said, "Close the door."
Hey, y'all don't remember the Kevin Hart stand up? He said the raccoon that door was like bang bang.
Bro. So James, yes, I've had raccoon before in the South.
Now that raccoon,
I had about this much raccoon. James, look at the screen. I had about that much coon barbecue. It was barbecue coon, and I put it in my mouth, and I realized exactly what it was. The sauce was good, but when I realized it was coon, I threw it away. That's as much. This is as much coon as I've even tasted. So yeah,
coon and coon. Terrible, really close. Play the next clip, David.
Wait. Run the next coon clip. It is the mayor of New York City. And I'm joking. Go ahead.
You asshole. David, play the one I dropped. I can't remember what it is.
Oh man, y'all have blessed my soul today. Oh, no, he got to get fought. No, we got to fight.
But if you dip that damn knife back in that damn jar, I'm gonna smack the hell out of you.
What?
That's nasty.
What you mean? I'm gonna wash it off?
What the hell you mean you gonna wash it off?
Dad, I'm gonna wash the knife off.
Are you slow?
Dad, I just said I'm gonna wash the knife off.
It's not about the damn knife. You getting your damn spit in my peanut butter.
I mean, we family anyway. It don't matter.
Well, how about I piss in the damn cup and make your ass drink it since we family?
Come on, Dad, you being extra.
Well, I throw the damn crock pot over there. You better watch your damn mouth before I put an extra foot up your ass.
Dad, I'm just saying. I do it all the time. It's not a big deal.
You do what now?
What's wrong with it?
My damn utensils? My damn...
It don't matter. We got the same germs.
But why do we say back in the day? And I don't do that anymore. Like I just
you saw my reaction.
But we're family, and it's almost like if you haven't seen a family member in a long time, they still gonna just grab your drink.
Hell no, they ain't.
The straw. Well, back then before COVID-19.
Okay.
Right.
But they're gonna grab your drink, drink out the straw. Even your partner, I'm just like, hey, every time like you go out, they're just drinking at the same cup as you, whatever. Like, I mean, just, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, like what's happening here. I know,
Rebecca.
I don't know.
I just want to say, short of my marriage partner, I ain't drinking out of nobody's cup. Well, see, I must have been about to tell a lie.
Listen, but why would that? No, and then when we were younger, how we used to be like drinking after our best friends. I can't even. Did they brush their teeth in the bar? Listen, for me,
we ain't think about shit like that. We just did it. We just went on, did it.
But now, I wonder is that going to be a new thing? Because we had a.
Now we think about
we're also a generation. I think the millennial generation had went through so many generations in one so quickly as well. So we were the generation that played outside, talked on the phone, saw the beepers, when the cell phones first came out. Yeah, right. We saw where the tape recorder became the CD player.
You had a beeper?
No, my dad had a beeper, and we used to call his beeper all the time.
I'm about to say,
yeah,
Rebecca
I had a beeper, and we weren't allowed to get beepers. A child would stay in a child's place at the time.
The only time a girl could reach me across the country was with a beeper back in the day. That's how bad technology was when we got started in the game.
And then they had a two-way. So the beeper the two-way, and then
the Nextel. Don't forget the Nextel.
Or Nextel. What was it? The other phone. The other phone.
Bluetooth. I mean, BlackBerry. They just went out.
I had BlackBerry.
The other one, the sidekick.
The sidekick.
With the screen roll up with the keyboard. Yep.
all of those types of phones. And then the
I remember
Razor
Metro
came out and
PCS.
changed the game because now you were wanting to flip your phone. So the
Yep.
Razor came out and it changed the game for everyone. And no, but before all of that was the brick phone. So it was just like a cordless phone
Yes.
you were carrying in your bag.
Yep.
You know, that's all it was. But we saw
Funny. It's
all
funny
these
because we're kind of getting
changes.
back to the bricks anyway. Like this is a whole
This
ass
is
brick
this is
now.
really a brick, honestly. This is a brick. But
It's a big ass
and,
phone.
and-
All
yeah,
of
and
them.
this is the 13, y'all. This is literally 13. Ain't nothing different about this phone than the 11 and the 12.
Or
I
the
said
12.
the camera.
Put that
I
on the
look-
screen.
The camera.
Damn. Them girls are.
And,
Look,
and
let me-
that's
look
where
for y'all
I
mine.
will end my rant
James,
about
you
that
have-
thing. And that's where I'll end my rant about that thing. But we will.
Oh, that's us.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
and I'm but I'm in the middle on the front.
When I tell you this picture's everything on this phone, this
I
like
love
I
you
love
for
this
that.
phone.
I love you for
Yeah.
gassing me up with that picture. I love
That
you
is a
for
great
that.
picture.
I
I don't
do.
have anything.
And
Even
I'm
Ben
waiting
looked good. Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
Ben does look good. He's always
And
good. But
I was going through hell that day. That day was
we all came in there. I'm like, y'all, I'm just not feeling it. And then look,
Right.
I said I'm gonna have to really give them something. And then Bubba came in there like, I just wasn't feeling, as
I'll show you
confident. I'm
this.
like, listen, you look good.
Kalonji. This is how I rode up on Kalonji that day. Hey, that's how I rode up on him in the
Ben,
pub.
you can't roll up
Looking
on
like a
people
little
that.
terrorist.
Ben, you can't roll up on people like that.
Looking like Sub-Zero. But
You can't do
like
that.
Scorpion.
I was like, hey, brother.
So is he
Assalamu
living
alaikum,
in
brother.
the area that you're living in right now?
Nah, man. I used to live in a nice neighborhood. Now I live in the hood.
Oh, he lives in Atlanta?
He lives in the nice side of Atlanta.
I didn't even know he lived in Atlanta. Does Professor Jerry Ball is in?
No, Professor Ball is in Maryland, Morgan State University.
Oh,
okay.
Wow, that's very nice. I love that. I love how we're able to web together through the web. Like this relationships with people.
Yeah.
And that we probably would never meet.
Mhm.
But I love
Right.
it so much. I love it so much. Who I'm gonna really meet though and go have drinks with. Look, once it's all over, because that's what you say about the pandemic. Once it's all over. But I am
When the
going-
revolution comes.
Me and Olay, I'm about to pull up to New York. Me and
That's
Olay are
right,
gonna hit the
Olay.
streets.
That'd be so
naked,
dope.
like look, with just legs. Because this is what we like to do, just legs, and have a good drink.
I don't know. Olay. Okay.
Yeah, Olay is a baddie. So we're gonna go out and be baddies together.
But
and
you
then
go
have
to
a
New
drink.
York with Olay. I suggest y'all come down to the South with Olay because Olay be out there fighting in them streets of New
No,
York with
Olay
them boys and
Olay
Rikers.
knows those streets, and I also used to live
She
in
be
them.
holding it down in them
No,
streets.
yeah,
up there.
Olay knows those streets. She goes out in those streets, and I also used to live.
Well, I'm
in
saying
those streets.
she gonna be working. She knows she gonna be. You got to bring her down here to relax because up there she always grinding.
No, she knows how to separate the two. That's what I'm telling you. Like she knows how to separate the two. So the fact that she knows how to separate the two, I can hang with that. Because
That's
once I unplug from this, if you think
Now you about to
there I
tell a
go.
lie.
God
You about to
bless
tell a lie.
Jesus. God bless the baby Jesus. All right, y'all. I am out. Hey, it's all y'all. I love you so much.
We'll see y'all Monday. We having a good time. No, we will see y'all Tuesday. Monday.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, everybody's day off is Monday this next week, and then after that,
And every day and every week after that, I love you.
and
guys.
every week going after that until I can pay these folks to be
David,
full time.
You can bring up the other one, David. I
Let's
got a
get outta
song.
here.
Just cue it up. Yeah.
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye, Becca. Bye, Benjamin. Big
See you
head
later,
ass
Ben.
Ben. Oh, if Ben playing that, you can play that then, and we leave it there, David. Love y'all, man, and see y'all
I
Monday.
won't delay anymore to present the award for the best actor, the very brilliant Academy Award-winning actress of last year, Miss Anne Bancroft.
The nominees for the best performance by an actor are Albert Finney in Tom Jones, Richard Harris in This Sporting Life, Rex Harrison in Cleopatra, Paul Newman in Her, Sidney Poitier in Lilies of the Field. The winner is Sidney Poitier in Lilies.
because it is a long journey to this moment. I am naturally indebted to countless numbers of people, principally among whom are Ralph Nelson, James Poe, William Barrett, Martin Baum, and of course, the members of the Academy. For all of them, all I can say is a very special thank you.
She don't wanna leave me, not just yet. Told me all about last Friday when she went all crazy. Didn't go to bed till Saturday. I don't wanna go without, so I asked her to stay. Though she broke my heart in a million ways, but I'm putting that aside now. I'ma feel alright now, happy just as long as she's with me. I've been trying my luck every day of the week, yeah. When my baby works up, always down every weekend.